kitchen? Did you want to see me?
Yes, Miss Bunker, I have a special job for you.
Oh.
Give me those teeth. Give me back those teeth. Oh, come on, Mr. Burke. Those teeth belong to Mrs. Collins.
This'll teach you not to bite me.
Oh, Mr. Burkvist.
Mrs. Collins had every right to bite you.
For being nice to her?
Nice? Nice is crawling into bed with her?
That's not nice.
Oh, he don't mean nothing. He just gets cold.
Come along, Mr. Burkfitz. Let's sit down and watch television.
That's a good idea. This took a lot out of me.
Mrs. Bunker, I want you to stay with Mrs. Dillon.
She's back? She must be feeling better.
No, I'm afraid the hospital just couldn't do anything else for her.
Oh, but we mustn't give up hope. My Aunt Elizabeth from Elizabeth, New Jersey. That ain't the reason they called her Elizabeth. She was very sick.
Mrs. Bunker, is this going to take long?
Yeah.
You better tell me tomorrow.
Oh, all right, remind me. Maybe Mrs. Dillon would like me to read her a story.
Be sure it's a short one.
Is she that sick?
You better read fast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we mustn't make jokes.
If I didn't joke, Miss Bunker, I'd cry.
Well, is there anything special you want me to do for her?
Give her whatever she asks for. Oh, but if you do need me, push the buzzer. Loretta, look who's here to see you.
Hi, Loretta.
Hello, Edith. How nice.
Welcome home. We missed you.
You know, I had another heart attack.
I know.
You know what those terrible people did?
No, what?
They kept me alive. Why don't they just let me go?
Where?
I lived a good life. Why can't the end be good, too?
Well, I guess it ain't up to us to decide them things.
God decides?
Yeah.
God decided. When I was in the hospital, God said, Loretta, it's time. And I saw my husband, Arthur, too. He waved at me and he said, come on, Loretta, I'm waiting for you.
Really?
He was a good husband, an unusual man. Never a harsh word between us.
That is unusual.
I should be with Arthur now. They shouldn't make me go through this. Edith, I can't even go to the bathroom by myself.
Don't worry about it. Ain't there something I can get you? A glass of water? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, please. Sit down. It's nice to have company. Nobody comes to see me anymore, not even my daughter. Noreen is afraid of sickness. She's always been like that.
But you know that she loves you.
And I love her. She's not strong. She never has been.
My Aunt Ethel was like that. She wouldn't even boil a cabbage because she said when she dropped it in the pot, she could hear it scream. I know what we could do. We can fix you up, and then we can call Noreen and tell her you're feeling better and tell her to come and see you.
Maybe tomorrow. Now I want to rest. Will you stay with me if I go to sleep?
Oh, sure. Can I get you another blanket?
No, just sit here.
Ain't there something I can do for you?
Just hold my hand and don't let go.
I want to know why my mother-in-law is dead, why something wasn't done to save her.
When Miss Critchen went into her room, it was too late.
Now, why wasn't somebody watching her?
Oh, I was watching her, and we had a nice long talk before she...
I told Mrs. Bunker to stay with Mrs. Dillon, but to call me if she needed me.
Did you go in as soon as she called?
I didn't call.
You didn't call.
If Mrs. Bunker had called someone, it probably wouldn't have done any good.
Probably. Probably isn't good enough. When I get through with you, this place is going to be a parking lot.
Anything, my mother.
It's negligence. It's pure negligence. Now, what are you going to do about it?
We're letting Mrs. Bunker go.
Where?
Her services are no longer required.
You mean I can't work at the Sunshine Home no more?
Thank God for that.
Oh, but Mr. Johnson, Mrs. Bunker can still work in the kitchen. She can read to the patients, write letters for them.
No. I'm sorry, Mrs. Bunker. You're fired.
I ate it. I'm home. Are you up in the toilet?
No, I'm out here.
Oh, you're out in the kitchen there. Edith, if there ain't nothing on the outside table and nothing on the inside table, there ain't nothing cooking on the stove, should you really be sitting down?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was so late.
Sure, it's late. Did you feed the kids?
She's spending the night at the Blooms. Well, I'll set the table.
Who's the long face for me?
Mrs. Dillon.
Oh. Oh, Mrs. Dillon. Oh. What did she do?
She passed away.
Oh, she passed away. Ah, that's too bad. Who was she?
She was from the Sunshine Home.
Oh, one of them people. Oh, well, she's, I mean, Edith, you gotta expect them things working over there, you know? I mean, the people you work with, they ain't exactly the Musketeers.
I got fired.
What for?
Because Mrs. Dillon passed away. And I was there with her when it happened.
Oh, well, now, geez, Edith, I mean, you know, them things are to be expected, huh? I mean, when you're working with invalids there, especially a lot of kind of decrepit old people. Hey, there's a guy named Shorty McCracken comes into our bar. He could tell you all about that. He does the same kind of work you do, but with a men's hospital, you know, there. And lots of times Shorty would get lost in the stores. And that cost a few lives. Yeah. Like one time, he was turning over a mattress, see? And he forgot to get the guy that was on it off it. So the guy hits the tile flooring, curtains. Then another time, he's taking a phone call from his bookie, you know, and he forgets a patient in a whirlpool bed. So he lost the patient and $25. But then, you know, then things happen. Shorty never felt bad, so why should you?
Did he get fired?
No, he's still working over at the Veterans Hospital. You know, you can't fire civil service.
But I never did none of them things.
No, you never did that. I'm only trying to explain to you, see? They want to make you the fall guy.
What's that?
A fall guy, but that's a guy who takes the rap, you know, usually for something that he didn't do. Hey, you remember that picture there with John Garfield in it? Maybe it was Jimmy Carey, you know? And also in the picture was Lana Turner. It could have been Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford. Well, the girl, she gets herself, you know, in a family way, eh? So now the older brother, that's John Garfield, see? Now, he says that he done it, you know, shows that the younger brother can go away to the university and study to be a prize fighter. Yeah, a prize fighter who writes the symphonies for the violin. So, see, in that case, the younger brother, see, he was the guy that was really in there. He got off the hook. It's the older brother, John Garfield, he took the rap for that, see. He was the fall guy.
But that ain't fair.
No, that's why in the end of the picture, Joan Crawford walks into the water. I know it ain't fair, really, but that's life in these United States.
A lot of them old people depend on me. What are they gonna do without me?
The same thing they do with you, Croak.
I love working there, Archie. I'm gonna miss my old friends. Especially Mrs. Dillon.
Yeah, but you'd miss her even if you're still working there. Of course, she ain't there no more. Right? Well, they must have hauled her away by now. Oh, good.
I better go.
No, it's all right. I know how you feel. I'll get it for you, Edith. Use the doorbell always rings when you're doing something. Just once, I'd love to hear that damn bell ring when I ain't home. Okay, geez, keep your pants on, huh? Oh, excuse me there. I didn't know it was panties. What I mean is, well, look, lady, whatever it is you're selling, my wife and me, we got that.
Well, no, I'm not selling anything. I'm Noreen Hammer, Mrs. Dillon's daughter.
Oh, yeah, the woman with the mother. Until today.
If it's okay, could I see Mrs. Bunker?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Come on in. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You take your coat off. You can throw it on a hook up there. Oh, I can help you with that. Ooh. I didn't touch nothing, did I? I'll take your coat. Yeah. Go on, sit down. Sure. Yeah, make yourself at home. Oh, but not yet. There's a wild spring in the middle of this chair, and women never like it. Try this soap. Hey, you know, we all gotta lose a mother, even me. It's true. Take my mother. All the time I was overseas in WW2, you know, the big war, my mother was alive and well. The minute I come home, she went like that. Well, I'll call Edith. Be there. Hey, Edith, the woman whose mother died and got you fired is here to see you. And by the way, I want to thank you for that, you know? I mean, it was bad for you, but good for me.
Hello, Mrs. Hammer.
Hello, Mrs. Bunker.
How are you?
We're okay.
She's okay. She's fine. She's fine. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down there. Sit down. Go sit down there. Excuse me there. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Talk.
Mrs. Bunker, I want to apologize to you for what Charlie did today.
That's all right. I guess maybe I was doing too much anyway.
Oh, you said it, Edith. Hey, Mrs. What-do-you-call, my wife, she's got a million things to do. She's got the raising of a child on her hands, you know, which she took on herself. A helpless human being, not to mention me. And then, well, look around. Well, like the walls, you know. Walls can always stand the washing down.
I'm gonna miss all my friends at the Sunshine Home, especially your mother.
Yeah. So will I. Mrs. Bunker, this afternoon, you said you had a long talk with my mother?
Yeah.
Could you please tell me what she said?
She talked about your father, and she told me what a good life she had. And she told me that while she was having her heart attack, she saw your father, you know, waiting for her and waving.
Hey, you know, that's another thing that was in that picture with John Garfield. I was telling my wife, you know? That waving from beyond, you know? God, was that sad. Hey, you know, there was too many things in that picture.
Mrs. Bunker, what did my mother say about me?
She said that she loved you, and that she knew that you loved her.
She really said that?
Yeah.
I've been so ashamed, you know, because I wanted to visit her, and I just couldn't make myself.
Well, it ain't easy seeing somebody suffer that you love.
No. Mrs. Bunker, I want to thank you for what you did today.
I didn't do nothing.
Oh, yes, you did, because you stayed with my mother, and I couldn't. I don't know. Death, it frightens me.
Oh, hey, you shouldn't worry about that. Everybody's scared of death until it hits you. After that, you never give it another thought.
Thank you, Mr. Bunker.
No thanks required, Miss What-do-you-call.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, and I want to apologize to you for the condition of that lawn out there. But, see, we got a neighbor with a big dog. He calls her Rusty, but I always call her Ramblin' Rose, if you follow my meaning. You've seen plenty of lawns in that kind of shape.
Mrs. Bunker, you're a very strong woman. And I'm very grateful that my mother had you with her today.
you see that? You got nothing to feel bad about. It's the woman herself. She thanked you for what you done for her mother. What'd you do?
I did what she asked me to do. I held her hand, and I didn't let go.
That's all? Well, you mean when you seen a woman was slipping away there, you didn't do nothing? Edith, listen to me. Listen to me for a minute. I want to tell you something. You know what I think? I think you done right. Yes. I'll tell you why. Because the way I look at it, see, dying is like being born, you know? I mean, that's God's business. And you ain't got no right to butt into God's business. Hmm? So, this time, you minded your own business for a change. Now, this here woman, she says you got strength. She's right. You got a lot of strength in it. I only wish when a time comes that I would have that same kind of strength in regards to you. Or vice versa, God forbid.
Oh, thank you, Archie.
What is this?
It's yesterday's meatloaf.
I'm still tasting yesterday's meatloaf.
Oh, Archie!
What do you want, Edith?
I think the set is pooped out again. It's happened, but we ain't got a picture and we ain't got no sound.
Well, I could have told you that a half an hour ago. Just give it a kick.
Oh, no. That's what makes it poop out when you kick it.
I never kick it until it's pooped out.
You kick it a lot.
Oh, no, no.
Oh, yeah.
When did you ever see me kick this when it wasn't pooping?
You kicked it when they caught Spiro Agnew.
No, I threw a beer at it.
You kicked it when Mr. Nixon resigned.
No, that time I cursed it.
You kicked it when the Rolling Stones was on.
No, that time I mooned it. But this here time, I'm going to kick it.
Oh, no! I think it's on fire!
Burn, baby, burn!
It could be dangerous!
Well, pull a plug on it, Edith. Give it a mercy killing.
Where are you going?
Oh, I ain't decided yet. It'll either be to the south of France or just away. Oh, holy cow. Edith.
Yeah!
Bring yesterday's paper here, will you? Barney's dog's been up on our porch again.
Oh, dear.
Can it be fixed?
Oh, no, it's too old.
If I had the money, I'd buy you a new one for your anniversary.
Oh, that's so sweet. But maybe I could get one. Yeah, that could be my present to Archie. Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
Have you got the money?
No. But maybe I could get it on credit.
What's credit?
Credit is when you pay a little down and then pay a little every week. Archie calls it the American way. He says that way you can buy anything you can't afford. Oh, it's a wonderful idea.
Miss Jameson, you can send in the next loan applicant. How do you do?
How do you do?
I'm Gordon Faraday.
I'm Edith Bunker.
Welcome to your bank's friendly loan department. Won't you sit down?
Oh, thank you.
Now, what can we do for you?
I want to borrow $500 for a new color TV set for my husband.
That's a lovely thought.
Oh, thank you. It's our 30th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my. It's so much nicer here than a Cressless department store. I was just over there looking at their TV sets, and I saw a nice one on sale. It was playing my favorite soap opera, As the World Turns. And it looked very good, so I decided to buy it. But the man wouldn't let me buy it on credit. So I asked him why, and he wouldn't tell me. But as I was going out, the sales lady told me that they wouldn't give me credit because I was a woman.
That's discrimination. That's against the law. You cannot deny credit to someone just because she's a woman.
That's what I thought.
Fortunately, Mrs. Bunker, our bank is quite liberal in its attitudes toward women.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Our chief teller is a woman in our branch in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. And our third assistant cashier is a woman. She's not only a whiz at figures, but she makes the best damn cup of coffee in town. So, you see, Mrs. Bunker, you've come to the right place.
Oh, I know I have. My husband and me got a joint account here, a joint checking account and a joint saving account, too. And I got 3 accounts of my own in my name. My education for my grandson account and my Christmas club account and my magic potato cutter account. That's mine, too.
The bank is your friend, Mrs. Bunker. Just give us a smile and we'll lend you a pile.
Oh, yeah. I heard that.
Now, you just take this application and fill it out. Then sign right here.
Oh, you make it so easy.
Then have your husband sign right here.
Oh, no, I ain't gonna do that, because I want it to be a surprise.
Oh, you want credit on your own?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that shouldn't be any problem. You can put up your bank accounts as collateral.
Yeah, but only mine. I want to do this all on my own.
How much money do you have in your accounts?
Oh, about $78.
No, I meant all 3.
Yeah, that is all 3.
Do you work?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, in that case.
I work work at the Sunshine Home, part-time.
How much do they pay you?
$2.65 an hour. Sometimes I work 10 hours a week.
Well, Mrs. Bunker, I'm afraid that isn't enough to guarantee the loan. Do you own anything yourself, outright?
Well, I own all my clothes. And I own the dishes that my mother gave us when we got married. Oh, and I guess I own the pots and pans, 'cause Archie gave them to me as a birthday present. Oh, and I got my own water pick. My daughter gave it to me.
Well, Mrs. Bunker, I'm afraid that your bank is not going to be able to give you a loan.
Why not?
Since you don't have any visible assets, and you don't work full-time.
Oh, but I do work full-time. I do all the cooking and the cleaning and the washing and the shopping.
I mean real work.
Oh, that's real work. Have you ever tried it?
That's just housework.
Oh, what's wrong with housework? Ain't that important? I thought you said that your bank didn't have nothing against women.
We don't. We love them. But we don't just fork over loans just like that.
If I was a man, would you give me a loan?
If you were a man, you'd be out working and you wouldn't be just a housewife.
But I can't be out working. I gotta stay home and work so my husband can go out and work. But you think that the work that I do at home ain't as important as the work that my husband does at work.
I'm glad you understand, Miss Bunker.
But that ain't fair.
Now, you just take this application home with you and fill it out and have your husband sign it.
I don't want him to
and come
sign
back
it.
here and I'll give you your money in 5
and
minutes.
I wanted it to be
I'm
a
sorry, I can't do
surprise.
business with you, Mrs. Bunker. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I'm sorry. I can't do business with you neither, Mr. Faraday. You know, my 3 bank accounts that I got here in this bank, my education for my grandson account, and my Christmas club account, and my magic potato cutter account.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna take them all out of this bank right now. If I suffer substantial penalties for early withdrawals. Case closed.
That lemon lime jello's pretty good. Even though it looks like you know what.
Oh. Where are you going?
Where am I going? Where else can I go? Going over here. Sit down. Do what I usually do. Look at TV.
Well, why would you look at TV when it ain't working?
I don't know what else to do.
I know what we could do. We can have a little talk.
Oh, jeez.
Come on, Archie. Let's have a heart-to-heart talk.
Yeah, all right, Edith, go ahead. the evening shot anyway?
Archie, you're my husband, and I'm your wife.
Who else knows this, Edith?
Oh, everybody. And I'm your friend. And you're my friend.
Now, hold it, Edith. I don't care what such publications as this Cosmopolitan has to say on the subject, but I tell you right here and now, a husband and a wife cannot be friends.
Oh, yeah, they can. Married people help each other, and friends help each other, too. So that makes married people friends.
All right. Dr. J. Smothers there. What the hell is your price?
Archie, friend, would you loan me some money?
Eat it, friend. The best way to lose a friend is to ask for a loan.
Please, Archie, I need some money.
How much? Well, come on, Edith. Give me the figure there.
5.
Oh, gee, sweetheart. You got it,
100.
$5. You just lost your friend.
Please.
What did you do wrong that you need $500?
Oh, nothing. It's just for something for the house.
We putting in a swimming pool?
Oh, no. I can't tell you what it is, Archie. You'll just have to trust me.
I do trust you. Man can trust his wife up to $25. Anything over $25, a man's got to know the facts.
Why? I don't make you tell me every time you spend our money.
Edith, the law says I don't gotta tell you. Edith, I'm the man of the house. You know what that means? I don't care what's going on nowadays, but that still means the boss.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
Edith,
Archie.
the boss. Listen, you better stop reading that big-brain Gloria Steinway too much. You take my advice. You're going to pay more attention to that nice little woman that's running around who always puts her duty ahead of her brains. That Mrs. Phyllis Shoefly.
All I can tell you is that it's something for what I can't tell you why, and it's for somebody that I can't tell you who.
Well, you better tell me the who with a why, or you ain't going to get the what.
Archie, please, you're my last chance. I can't get it from the bank because they won't lend money to housewives.
Oh, well, that's the fault of all the big liberals out there. They went and protected all the minority groups from the bank. Now the bank ain't got nobody left to kick around but use women.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that the work I do here in the house, the cooking and the washing and the cleaning and the shopping, is worth $1 a week?
About?
Well, I figured it all out. See, $1 a week for 52 weeks, because there's 52 weeks in a year, comes to $52 a year.
Well, that's close, yeah.
And we've been married 30 years, right?
Yeah.
That's 10 threes. And 10 52s is $520. And 3 520s comes to $1,560. Which you owe me. Let's make a deal. If you pay me right now $500, I'll let you keep the $1,060 that's left.
What do you mean, keep it? When the hell did I ever have it?
When you didn't pay it to me.
But I don't see it nowheres. What did I do with it?
Well, how should I know? See? You don't have to tell me every time you spend your money. Why should I tell
Oh, Edith, wait. 50... Just a minute. What are you trying to tell me here? That I gotta pay you for doing the work that God gave you to do?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, that Edith Baines bunker is communist talk.
I ain't a communist. I voted for Jimmy Carter.
Now it all comes out.
And I suppose you were saying that the work that I've been doing in this house for 30 years ain't worth $500.
Wait a minute, don't put words into my mouth. I never said...
Wait
Wait a minute,
and Sundays
just a
and
minute.
holidays.
You're the one who brought up this whole thing about the money. You said $1. Let me finish, will you?
I guess when I
Let me finish. You brought up... Will you let me finish what I'm trying to say here? Oh, hey! Take it easy there, will you? Jesus scared me. You got a wild look on your face like your Aunt Luella up at the funny farm.
And you got a mean look on your face like that man at the First Friendly Bank. And that man at Chrysler's department store. I didn't want to do this. You clear off the table, and I ain't paying you for it neither.
Oh, my God. If she's going through another one of them changes, you might as well come and claim me, because I can't take it.
Was Aunt Edith yelling at you?
No. She don't never yell. She was singing something down there. Let me tell you something, kiddo. Your Aunt Edith's a saint. This time she's a killer saint, but she's a saint.
Do you know what she wanted the money for?
No, what?
I'll never tell.
Come on, tell me. I'll give you a dime. Quarter.
She wanted to buy you a new TV set for your anniversary.
Why didn't she... Okay. You stay there.
Wait a minute.
Huh? Yeah.
Thank you.
Eat it. Eat it, sweetheart. Oh, jeez. Come on, listen to me. Listen to me, darling. I'm going to give you the $500. You don't have to say what you're going to spend it. You know, you could let that be my anniversary present to you.
Oh, no.
Huh?
It ain't a present, Archie, because it's my pay.
Oh, you pay. All right, then, Edith, let it be your pay, see? And then from now on, you and me, we're even Steven.
Oh, no. Because you still owe me $1,060.
Well, you said in there we had a deal. If I give you the $500...
But you didn't take the deal when I offered it to you, so now it's too late.
Oh, come on.
But you don't have to pay me all at once. You can pay me $5 a week. Yeah, and then we'll have a little fun, and we can keep it for paying bills, and for trips to see Mike and Glory and little Joey, and then it'll be for presents for little Joey, too. Let me see, $5 a week, 52 weeks in the year, 5 times 52, 5 to 2, $260 a year, that's all. Yeah, now let me see, how many years would that take? 1,060. Well, it'll be between 3 and 4 years. But all that time, you don't have to be paying me the $1 a week that I always... Listen to me, or I'll have to explain it to you all over again. See, you don't have to pay me the $1 a week.
Job? Oh, I ain't afraid of the asking. I'm afraid of the answers. Ma, worrying is not going to help you find a job. Now, don't be so nervous.
Oh, I can't help it, Gloria. I protected my underarms twice. The second time I used Archie's deodorant, the one with the brute strength. But I still feel weak everywhere else.
Ma, when you walk into those offices, you got to say to yourself, I'm going to get that job. Do you understand what I'm saying, Ma? You got to think positive.
Yeah, but what if they think positive and say we don't want you?
Ma, don't sell yourself short.
It ain't my height I'm worried about. It's just that I ain't done this sort of thing for years, 25 years.
Well, maybe you should have. Maybe Daddy's being on strike is a blessing in disguise.
There ain't no blessing in all them bills that gotta be paid.
Huh. Remember Daddy saying he thought the strike would be over by the weekend?
Oh, yeah, that was 3 weekends ago. Sometimes I think it'll never end.
Oh, Ma, don't worry. You're gonna go out there and knock them dead. You're gonna get a job just like that.
No, yeah. Well, maybe you're right. Oh, thanks, Gloria. You made me feel better.
You see? All it takes is confidence.
Hey, who's been reading the New York Times?
Me. I've been reading the Help Wanted ads.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't get my hopes up too high, Ma. Yeah, the way the economy's going, it's not that easy to get a job.
Michael.
Well, it's true. Look at me. I've been trying to get a part-time job for 3 weeks. It's impossible.
Michael?
And I'm a lot younger than Ma.
Michael, shut up. Ma.
Yeah, I know, Gloria. Positive thinking.
Oh, boy, you're a big help.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything by it. Hey, Ma, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean anything by that.
That's all right, Mike. How do I look?
You look fine.
You don't think this dress is too revealing? I don't think I should look too sexy.
Don't worry, Ma. You never do. So what kind of job you looking for?
Well, something that pays good but don't need no previous experience.
Have you thought about going into politics?
I'm gonna see about 3 clerking jobs and then a receptionist. That's what I think I'd like to do, recepting.
Did you see all the firms here that are advertising for Girl Friday?
Oh, yeah, I saw them, but one day's work wouldn't be enough. I gotta get going. You know what they say. The early bird catches the worm.
Yeah, it also leaves the house before Archie finds out what it's doing.
Oh, you figured that out, huh? Well, wish me luck.
Good luck, Ma.
Come on, Ma, you can do it.
Oh, my, I feel just like a teenager when I first started going out on job interviews. Only now I can hold my head up.
Because of the self-confidence I gave you, right?
No, now I ain't got no pimples to hide. Bye, Ma.
she's really something. After all these years looking for a job, boy, she's quite a woman.
Yeah, isn't she?
Yeah, almost makes up for your father. I know, I shouldn't knock him. After all, he did one thing that no other man could do. He made you.
Oh, Michael, that's lovely.
Oh, look at this. Come right off the picket line into a massage parlor.
On the other hand, Gloria, maybe you're adopted.
Was that your mother I just seen galloping down the street?
Probably. Michael, would you help me in the kitchen with the grocery shopping list?
Yeah, sure.
I promise Ma I'd pick some up on the way home.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Don't walk away from me when I'm talking to you. That was your mother running down the street.
Well, then what are you asking me for? Butter?
Got
Of course. I want to know what the hell she's up to.
A dozen eggs.
I yelled to her. She didn't even look back at me.
Maybe she thought you were a mugger.
That's a thought. Here's another thought.
That reminds me, raspberries.
Don't be giving me a headache on top of the headache I already got. This inflation and the unemployment. I'm worried about going broke. The whole country's worried about going broke.
Not the defense industries.
Oh, there he goes rapping a Pentagon again.
Milk.
If it was up to you liberals, we would have no defense at all. You don't want us to have nothing. No armaments, no navalments, nothing. You'd have us running along the beaches in our jockey shorts, trying to catch the Russian missiles with butterfly nets.
Arch, this country has enough bombs to kill the whole world 20 times over. So is Russia.
When we can kill it 30 times over, we'll sleep peaceful at night. Look at you. What do you want us to be? Weak? Like Norway was in World War II?
Arch, I'm not saying we should eliminate our defense budget altogether, but this administration cut the mass transit budget by half. At least in Norway, they had buses.
Buses. Sure they had buses. That's why the Norways lost the war.
What?
That's right. When the Germans come marching into their country, they didn't know what was happening. They was all riding on the bus. And what is it with your mother?
Nothing.
Gloria, we might as well tell him. He's going to find out sooner or later.
Come on, what?
She went looking for a job.
Oh, was that all?
You're not mad?
Why should I be mad? I don't keep her under lock and key around here. Do I look like Simon McGee? Let her go out anytime she wants. Let her look for a job. She ain't gonna find nothing.
Oh, yeah? What makes you so sure?
Oh, come on, little girl. There's 10 guys out there scratching and clawing for every job. And as Leo DeRocha said, nice guys finish last.
Well, what's that got to do with Ma?
You ever see a nicer guy than your mother? Who's that coming in now?
Oh, it's only me, Archie.
Oh, it's only you, ain't it?
I'll get your dinner right away.
Yeah, get my dinner right away, huh? Did you get the job?
No. How did you know I was looking for a job?
Oh, geez, eat it. It's in the papers. Edith Bunker out hunting a job. Governor declares New York a disaster area.
Archie, it was awful. I had to wait one place a whole hour. And when I finally got in, the man said, too old.
I ain't surprised, Edith. I mean, after all, you're over the hill.
I ain't over the hill.
Well, you can certainly see the top of it.
Well, maybe I'll have better luck tomorrow.
Oh, what do you mean tomorrow, Edith? Now, come on, you ain't gonna go out there again tomorrow. I mean, don't you learn your lesson? After all, I mean, if a woman ain't got no experience, then she ought to stick to unskilled labor, like being a wife.
But that don't pay nothing.
But it ain't supposed to pay nothing, Edith. You're supposed to be satisfied with your, what do you call, unseen rewards.
How would you like an unseen dinner?
Well, don't bite the face off of me.
I'm just saying that somebody better bring some money in this house, and soon.
Well, somebody will, but that somebody will be wearing pants, not panties.
Archie, I'm worried.
What are you worrying about? You see me worrying?
Yeah.
Well, all right, I'm the one that's supposed to be worried. You ain't supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to just say, c'est la vie. As the French used to say when the Germans were slaughtering. Talking about slaughter, what do we got for dinner?
Chicken croquettes and cherry gelatin for dessert.
Cherry gelatin again?
But you like cherries.
I love cherries, but not when they're set in rubber.
Add some extra water so it'll be more shaky.
Oh, please, I'll be chasing it all over the place.
Oh, come in, Louise.
Hi. Did you get the job?
Oh, no. Oh, it was awful, Louise. Nobody wants me. I even went to the Hercules Plumbing Company where I used to work when Archie and me was going together.
Well, what did they say?
They didn't say nothing. They're a parking lot now.
Still no sign of Archie's strike ending, huh?
No.
Edith, how are your figures?
Well, I ain't no Miss America. Like all them younger girls that are looking for jobs.
No, I mean money figures, counting figures. Could you learn how to work a cash register?
Can you learn that?
I could teach you.
Oh, well, I guess I could.
Great. George don't know it yet, but I just found someone to help in the cleaning store.
Who?
You. You can come and work for us.
Louise! Oh, I love it! Oh, Louise! Oh, but are you sure you want me? Oh, I probably start gambling with the customers and forget to give them their change.
Oh, that won't bother George none. You can start tomorrow morning.
Oh, Louise, thank you.
Now I'll go and give him the good news. Will he be surprised?
So will Archie. Archie! Oh, I got a surprise.
One of these days, you're going to surprise me with a heart attack. Now, what is it?
No, I can't tell you yet, because I gotta go get a little surprise to celebrate the big surprise.
Oh, Edith, I don't think I can take one surprise on top of another.
Don't you like me bringing home surprises?
Oh, Edith, with you, a surprise could be anything from a runaway horse to a Puerto Rican.
That's even better. I'll be right back.
She's bringing me a surprise. Help me, Lord.
You just did what, Louise? I told Edith she could have the job in the store.
No way, Louise. No way.
But George...
There's no way that honky's wife is going to come in my store except with a bundle of cleaning in one hand and some ready cash in the other.
George, those people are having a hard time.
So are we people. The only difference between them and us is that our people have had 300 years practice.
Well, it will only be until Archie's strike is over.
That could be 5,000 months from now. What are people going to think when they come in the store and see a white face standing all behind the counter?
What would they think?
What would they think? The niggas will think she owns the store and the honkies will think we bleached the house.
George, you don't realize that times have changed. People ain't as dumb as you are anymore. Just last Sunday, Reverend Hamilton said we were all brothers under the skin.
Sure, he gets paid to say that. Bunk ain't no brother of mine. He ain't no distant relative. In fact, he don't even make a good stranger. No job, Louise. That's final. Now. What's for dinner, dear?
George, you win.
I knew you'd see it my way eventually.
After all, you'd only be driving poor Archie out of his mind.
Say what?
I said you were right, as usual.
No, what did you say about Bunker?
I said you would drive poor Archie out of his mind when he hear Edith's going to work for you. He'd probably jump off the George Washington Bridge.
Yeah. But the Queensboro Bridge is closer. And I could watch him from here.
George!
Settle! I said she's got the job.
Well, give the deck 3 chances, and you cheat.
Hey, Daddy. Where's Ma?
I don't know, she took off out of here like a dingbat out of hell.
Why? What happened? She get a job?
She didn't get no job.
Oh, well, I'm going upstairs to freshen up.
Oh, geez, I hate this game.
I'm back!
Oh, you're back, are you?
Surprise!
Look out, you blew the game on me here. Hold it. That is a surprise. Back to Hobie's Bakery. Don't tell me you brought home something good for dessert for change.
Yeah, and I was very lucky, because it was just closing. Mr. Pastore likes to get upstairs to watch Walter Cronkite. He thinks they might be related, because they got the same eyebrows.
I'm thinking of one of them big, delicious chocolate cakes with all the nuts on the top. It ain't one of them.
That's right, it ain't. But it's better.
Whoa, hey, hold it here. What is this? Happy bar mitzvah Irving. Who the hell is Irving?
He's the little boy that got the mumps, so his mother didn't come and pick up the cake.
Well, how are we going to eat this? This is a Jewish cake, You give this to a kid before he gets circumscribed.
It was on sale, Archie. This is a $10 cake. I got it for $1.
Couldn't he give you something that said Merry Christmas, Ivy?
Oh, I don't think so. Anyway, that would be stale by now.
All right, cut out my chunk from the part that says happy there. And leave the bar mitzvah part for the meathead. He ain't a Jew, but he'll eat anything that ain't moving.
Archie, I got a job.
You got a job? I thought you said you couldn't get no job.
I got a job.
Oh, wait a minute.
From George Jefferson.
Hold it. George Jefferson?
Yeah.
You mean next door George Jefferson?
Yeah.
You mean colored George Jefferson?
Right. Louise offered me a job in their cleaning store, and I start tomorrow.
Oh, wrong, Edith. You quit tonight.
Archie, it's like the answer to all our prayers.
Hold it, Edith. I don't pray to George Jefferson. You ain't gonna wait for me.
But Archie...
Oh, no, Edith. What the hell's going on around here? You getting a job in a colored store? You bring me home a kosher cake? The next thing you'll have me sitting at the table with a Yamaha around my head.
I just want to help, and they need somebody in the store.
No, they don't need nobody at all. They're just telling you that. Don't you see what the game is? They're just trying to be friendly and drive me nuts. Oh. No, Edith, no, that's a handout. That's all I call that, a handout.
Archie, if I don't take this job, we'll have to go on welfare. Use food stamps. What would you call that?
Yeah, read it, but I mean, Edith, what are the neighbors gonna say? I mean, the white neighbors, like the McNabbs and the Hepnans and the Munsons. I mean, you're working in a colored store there. What are they gonna say?
I guess they'll just say hi, Edith.
Hi, Ma. Gee, I'm sorry you had a lousy day.
Oh, no, I didn't. I had a wonderful day.
Happy bar mitzvah, Irving. Where's Irving?
Some little Jewish kid is still hurting.
Hey, everybody, I got some great news.
Well, what is it, honey? What is it?
We're having cake tonight.
Not your news, Michael.
Who's Irving?
Your news, honey, your news.
Oh, yeah, hey, I got a job.
What?
Isn't that great?
What?
So did I.
Really?
What?
Where?
What?
The Jeffersons cleaning.
What? What? What is that I heard the meathead say?
I got a job.
You got a job?
Yeah.
That's the greatest news I heard all year. I need it. We're saved. We're saved by the Polish cavalry. Come on over here, Edith, right now, and get yourself on this phone here.
What for?
You're going to call up the Jeffersons. The number is right here, and you're going to tell George Jefferson that you resigned as of now.
But Archie, I want to work.
Yeah, why does she have to quit her job?
Because, didn't you hear, your husband, the meathead, has got a job. He's going to be the breadwinner now. He's backing me up. So you get over here, Edith, and you dial. Okay, Edith, I got a finger, too. I can dial.
Archie, please
I can
don't
dial.
call
I
us,
can
please.
back. I'll get the number. I'll call the Jeffersons, and I'll say what has to be said myself. That's all. Get over here, meathead. What kind of a... Hold it. Hi there, Louise. Archie here. Is George there? I want to talk to him for a minute. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll tell him. So what kind of a... Hold it. Hi there, George. Archie here. I got a couple of things to tell you. First of all, my son-in-law, Michael, he just got a job. Yeah. Hold it. What kind of a job was that?
Tutoring a kid in history.
Hey, you hear that? Tutoring a kid in history. Brain work. Probably pays him a fortune. Yeah, how much you gonna make a week?
About $20, $25 a week.
The kid's gonna make... the other thing I wanted to say to you there, George, was that Edith here wants to talk to Louise. Get away from me. Get over here. Get on the blower.
Hello, Louise. Archie just wanted to say thank you. Yeah, I'll be there in the morning, 9 o'clock sharp.
Between $20 and $25 a week. And you got the knife? Eat cake.
They fam all over the dam. Boom, boom, did 'em down and want 'em chew. Boom, boom, did 'em down and want 'em chew.
And Wait a minute, Edith, what are you doing? I just packed this.
Can't pack 'em like that. They'll be wrinkled by the time we get there.
We're going fishing, Edith. The fish don't give a damn how I look as long as my worms smell good.
Bonnie and Blanche, you'll think I don't take good care of you.
Barney and Blanche, they shouldn't even be going with us. Why can't we go up to that little weekend cabin alone?
Well, I guess 'cause it's Barney's cabin and he invited us. And it's Barney's car and they're gonna
All right, Edith.
drive
All
us.
right, you made a small prank. Don't build it up. The point I'm trying to make is I can't warm up to Blanche. I can't forgive her for what she done to my poor pal Barney, running off with another guy to Atlantic City.
Archie, Blanche came back to him.
That's what I can't forgive. She should have stood there in Atlantic City. Everybody'd be better off. State of New Jersey would have had one more fallen woman, but over in Jersey, they'd never noticed that.
God forgives everybody that falls.
I know that, Edith. But God expects more out of women. That's why he coined the phrase, fallen woman. Why do you think you never hear nothing about fallen men? Answer me that.
That's right.
And answer that.
Maybe it's because so many men are falling all the time, nobody pays no attention.
Edith, if you can't give me the right answers to my questions, then let's bring the discussion to a merciful end.
I'm all packed.
Oh, that's good. Oh, my, you look nice.
What do you mean you're all packed? When did we decide to take hoses?
Stephanie.
Whatever.
Steffi's gonna stay at the O'Briens for the weekend.
You gotta stay in another weekend with them Catholics there? They'll drag her off the mass again.
But I like it. Can I have some money for the collection plate?
Oh, no dice. I ain't gonna give you no money for a Catholic collection plate, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you $1. You can shoot it on the bingo game.
Archie, that's gambling.
That's one of the main things they do. Should be staying with them people anyway. What is the matter? Ain't there other people in the neighborhood here with kids? Hey, the Blooms, they got a kid like you, ain't they?
Yeah, Amy Bloom. She's in my class, too. She said I can sleep over anytime I want to.
Well, there you go. That would be better.
And I can go to Mass with them, too.
Oh, no, you can't do that. No, Mass with the Blooms. No, kiddo. See, the Blooms are Jewish, and they go to a temple. And they have their Sundays on Saturdays.
That's me. I can go to temple on Saturday and church on Sunday.
Holy cow. Well, on a Monday, you might as well shave the hair off your head and go beat your tangerine with the hairy Knusha. Okay, Edith, that's settled now. The next time, it's gonna be the Blooms, because they ain't gonna convert the kid. You see, one of the good things about the Jews is they don't want you.
Oh, here they are. Steffi, you go down and get in the car.
Okay.
We're gonna drop you at the O'Briens.
Hiya, Barney. We'll be right down.
Come on, Arch. Hurry up, will you?
Hello, Archie.
Oh, hello there, Blanche.
Gee, hurry up.
Oh, wait,
Here we go.
hold it, Edith. Let's not forget this other big bag here, huh?
Oh, sure.
Here. I got this in.
Here we go, roll out there. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I own that. Connecticut Avenue.
All right. Yeah, shoot now. Here we go. What did you 6 there? Hold it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I can count by myself. That is Virginia Avenue, which I own.
Yeah,
Now
okay.
it's
Next.
my
Yeah, go
turn.
ahead, Edith. Go ahead.
Oh, come on, Daddy. Mommy needs a new pair of shoes.
Don't spit on the dice.
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Short line railroad, $200. Can I buy it?
No, you can't buy it.
Why not?
Because you already own it.
Oh, good, then I don't have to pay.
Six. All right.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hey, you took a walk on my boardwalk. Happens to have a hotel, and the rent for that is 2,000 simoleons.
16.50. Okay, I owe you $350.
No Owens.
No Owens, Blanche.
Strictly cash.
Strictly cash.
Then lend it to me.
No lendings.
Oh, Barney, you're as cheap with this as you are with real money.
Oh, and you're as loose with it as you are with my money.
Well, whose turn is it?
Yeah, hey, Blanche, learn the game. If you need more money, you ought to mortgage some of your houses there or sell your property.
No, if I do that, I'll lose money and I won't collect any rents. You know, he'd lend it to me if he wasn't so cheap.
It's not a matter of cheap. It's against the rules of the game.
No, it's because you're so cheap. After all, rules are made to be broken.
Ah, you ought to know.
Whose turn is it?
I ought to know what?
Nothing. Come on, let's play the game.
Yeah, we'll play the game.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, Barney, if you're so cheap, you can have all my property!
This is a shame.
Keep out of it. This is a private argument.
All right, Blanche, all right. Keep it private then, you know, between Barney and you and the guy that got to you.
That does it. You see what you've started, Barney? You promised you would never mention that exterminator again, and now you've got Fatso talking about it.
You hear your friend here? Do you hear your friend
We're
here?
all tired. I think maybe we
Don't
should
try
go to bed.
Barney's not sleeping with me. He can find another bed.
Where am I supposed to go?
Well, try your hotel on the boardwalk.
Now, look here, Blanche. Stop kidding around. I need a bed.
Maybe you can squeeze in with him and Edith.
Is she kidding?
She's kidding.
Okay, Blanche. Is that the way you want it?
That's the way I want it.
Well, wait a minute. Hold it. That ain't the way I want it.
I wouldn't be caught dead in your bed.
If you were, I wouldn't notice the difference.
She wouldn't notice the difference. Oh, Barney, that was a piece of surgery. Did you see where he went?
Oh, yeah, our bedroom.
What's with the hat?
It's raining over the Taylors.
That happens.
You'd think you'd fix that hole in the roof.
Keeps it nice and fresh in there.
Let me tell you something, Barney. This is very unnatural.
Huh?
I mean, me. This is the kind of thing that sent Anita O'Brien around a bend.
That's a very good-looking woman.
Who cares? And you're on my side of the bed.
It also happens to be my side of the bed.
And I suppose you ain't moving, huh?
You got it.
I got no use for you. If you had any guts at all, you'd go in there and you'd force yourself on your wife. All this trouble tonight. It's all Blanche's fault.
I don't want to hear that name again.
Yeah, Blanche. Blanche!
What do you want?
Who's talking to you?
It sounded like you, Fatso.
Hey, Barney.
Huh?
You know them big country spiders with the 8 hairy legs and the 7 red eyes?
Yeah. You know they're very dangerous.
Well, I just seen one crawl under you.
Oh, get him off! Get him off! Oh, hey, is he on me?
No, Barney. It's okay, you're safe. I just crushed him with my behind.
What a low-down prick. You'll resort to anything, won't you, to get your own way?
Quit your beefing there.
Fine, boys, try to be happy together.
Ah, shut up.
Didn't anybody try to warn you about Blanche before you got married to her?
Yeah, a couple of people. But I didn't pay any attention to them. Because I knew they didn't like it from the beginning.
Who were they?
Her mother and father.
Oh, Blanche, don't worry. Everything's gonna be all right in the morning.
All right for who?
For you and Barney and Archie, if he can ever forget that he spent the night with a man.
Edith.
Oh, look at your face.
Didn't you ever think of leaving Archie?
Oh, Blanche.
Well, didn't you? Come on, you can tell me.
Well, once. I thought he was having an affair with another woman.
Was he?
Oh, Archie could never do that.
I didn't think he could. But you, Edith, didn't you ever have an affair with another man?
Oh, please. Come on, tell me. Come on. Come on, tell me. Well, why would I want another man when I got Archie?
That's why.
Archie's the only man for me.
He can't be much of a lover.
Blanche, I'd rather not talk about it.
That bad, huh?
No, I didn't say that.
Just between us, you know? 2 old friends. Girl talk, let's be honest. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, as a lover, I would put Barney at about 1.5.
Oh.
Where would you put Archie?
I never heard of a scale like that.
Call it the bedroom scale. Put Archie on it.
I can't even get Archie on the bathroom scale.
You hear that, Barney? They're laughing at you.
Oh, yeah? How do you know they ain't laughing at you?
Well, I'll find out. Oh, my God. You know, Blanche, with that face, you could stand outside the cabin and keep the bears away.
Archie, if you was the last man on Earth and I was the last woman, I'd start looking at bears.
Wait a minute, you can't escape me in the toilet. Don't do nothing yet. If I was the last man on Earth and you was the last woman, I would go to bed with a bush.
Something wrong?
The only thing wrong is there's no lock on that door to lock her the hell out of here. Look out, Edith.
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm getting in bed with my wife the same as I've done for the last 28 years.
29?
Yeah, whatever. course, it's not only my habit, but it happens to be a husband's conjugal right. And a wife's convivial obligations.
Blanche is coming right back.
Let her go and get into bed with her husband there, which is a habit that she ought to get back into. And I hope the two of them punch each other out. Don't be looking at me with your two eyes. Close them eyes. And you go to sleep. The two of us, we make out if she comes back like we're dead to the world. Now, come on, Edith. Lights out. There.
My cold.
Edith.
Give me a little room, will you?
Blanche, I think you better turn on the light.
Edith, this doesn't feel like you.
That's because you're feeling me. Don't it strike you funny, Blanche, that the only guy who could ever get rid of you was an exterminator?
Well, you sure know how to handle a louse like you.
Archie, I think you better go back to bed with Barney.
No! Let her go back to bed with Barney!
You go back to bed with Barney. This is my bed.
Well, let me tell you something. Whilst my wife is in this bed, this is my bed. And I will not get out of this bed until my wife gets out of it.
Then I'll get out of it.
And leave me in it with Archie?
Oh. Oh, no.
Ah, Blanche, maybe Barney took you back and forgive you, but not the world and not me.
Archie Bunker speaks for the world, I suppose.
When the world is doing right, I speak for it. When it's doing wrong, I speak to it.
What a dummy.
I'm gonna tell you something else, Blanche. At this point in time, the world and me is very disappointed in you. We are very sorry that you have turned into a pyronymphiac.
Archie, be nice.
Edith, this is as nice as I get.
What the hell is going? Well, excuse me.
It looks like it was an accident. See, Blanche went into the bathroom to get ready, you know, and then she jumped into bed with Archie. No, I mean, she thought Archie was me.
Get out of here. If you was a gentleman, you wouldn't be in bed with me.
You get out of here. If you was a lady, you certainly wouldn't be in bed with me.
This is my bed, and I am going to stay in it.
Okay, Blanche. Any woman that insists on remaining in bed with Archie Bunker has got to face the consequences.
Your best friend tried to attack me.
Likely story.
Why, you heard him. It's a likely story.
What's the use? You don't believe anything I say.
Blanche, listen to me, everybody. This whole thing started because of a little fight over Monopoly money.
Oh, no, Edith. It goes way deeper than that.
Archie's right. It isn't just Monopoly money. I made a mistake, and now everybody reminds me of it. Barney's family, my family, the whole neighborhood. Maybe Archie's right. Maybe he is speaking for the whole world.
Oh, well, there's no maybes about that, Blanche.
Well, what does everybody want me to do? Disappear? Put my head in the oven?
Oh, no, don't do that.
No, that would be a sin, but you could disappear.
Knock it off, will you, Arch?
I'm trying to be your pal. I'm on your side.
Now, wait a minute. Listen to me, Blanche. All that's really important is how you and Barney feel about each other. It's like what my Aunt Frida from Freeport always used to say. You can't run away from your own head, so you might as well make friends with it. So let's everybody make friends with their own heads and shake hands. Come on, Archie.
All right, Edith.
No, shake hands with Blanche.
But why should I shake hands with her? She should be shaking hands with him and him with her. I mean, after all, this is the guy that she done wrong.
Archie Bunker.
Will you stay out of this?
Talking the truth.
Blanche, honey, listen to me. Edith is right. The only thing that's really important is how we feel about each other. And I think you're beautiful.
I think you're beautiful too, Barney.
Oh, Archie, ain't that nice?
I think it's stupid.
We'll grab a few Z's, huh?
Well, wait a minute. Hold it, Barney. Where the hell do you think you're going?
To bed.
To bed, yeah? What I mean, but daybreak is breaking over here, at least out there.
Well, that's why it's time to go to bed.
No, it's time to get into the boat and get out on the lake there. The fish, we come up here, the fish are jumping there. Why are you looking at me as if I was a nuts?
Because that's the way you look.
Don't look at me no more, huh? Just go into the kitchen there, will you, please? And make coffee and make toast. And Blanche, will you go into the kitchen there and make the eggs and make bacon, huh? Barney, don't stand there. Make the beds.
And what are you gonna make?
Why? I'm gonna make believe that none of this ever happened.
Scare you, but I need your help. I can't figure out where I've gone wrong in the sweater that I'm making for Joey.
Oh, my cookies oh, my Toll House cookies are done.
Toll House, that's my favorite.
Gloria, would you take them out of the oven for me?
Here.
And I'll look at your sweater.
Oh, okay, can I have some?
Oh, sure.
Don't burn cookies. I'm coming to eat you. Here goes my diet. Look, Ma, just like when I was little. I got one for my mouth and one for each hand. Oh, excuse me. Here, Ma, you can have one of them.
Thank you.
Ma, you figure out how to fix that sweater?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You think you can show me how?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's the matter?
Look at all the crumbs on the floor.
Where?
Look again.
Oh, Ma, it was just a raisin. I think.
I ate it. I can't fix the float valve on that toilet up there without the right tools. I can't find my screwdriver. I can't find my pliers. Where's the pliers?
They're in the kitchen. You was using them when you was fixing the sink.
No, Edith, that was a year ago. Now, I used the pliers since then. On that self-same toilet up there, which the float valve was making noise before. And I remember when I was finished, I put the pliers right down on the top of the toilet tank between the rapid shave and your heavy-duty wrinkle cream.
Hiya, Daddy.
Hiya, little girl, and I ain't in a happy frame of mood. And what are you doing with your nose in my mail? Give me that mail. It's only bills anyhow. And look at this, see that they all come on the one day of the month now. They used to spread them out. Ronald Reagan would have taken care of this, see? Well, let's see what we got here. Oh, heat and oil here. Well, that means more money for the Arabs, see? Then they run around the world buying up all the hotels, all the gambling joints, which means more money for the mafia. And then we got here the gas and electric. Well, it's more money for Consolidated Edison. They go running around tearing up the streets of New York, which means more money for the Teamsters, which is another way of saying more money for the mafia. And then we got the telephone here, AT&T, American Thieves and Thugs, which is another way of saying more money for the mafia. Huh?
Daddy, all of that money doesn't go to the mafia.
Well, about half. Another half goes to the Jews, and the third half goes to the Pope.
You are so sick.
Hey, little girl, it's a well-known fact. Look it up. All right, come on, get up out of my chair. I gotta sit down, read the bill, see how much they dented me for this month. Let me get into my chair, will you?
You ought to look for your pliers.
I'll sit in my chair until it comes to me where they are. That's all. What is the matter with you? Sit down here. Let me see this here telephone bill and them calls to... Hey, that new underwear you bought me a bunch is up in the wrong spot. Don't be listening to this. See these... Oh. Look at this, 4 calls over to Judge.
I know where your pliers are. They're in the cellar, Archie. Yeah, you was using them when you broke the furnace. I mean, when you fixed the furnace.
Just come to me. I think my pliers is down the cellar because I was using them that time that I adjusted the furnace there. All right, I'll see where they are, Edith. I think I can find them. Then I'll cure that noise in the cellar forever.
Ma, you're acting so funny today.
Oh, no, I ain't acting funny.
You're hiding something.
No, I ain't. What are you doing with your hand? No,
Ma, something's under here, isn't it? Let me see. How to be your husband's mistress?
Archie, you'll hear you.
Mom, what are you doing with that book?
Hot pipes,
Well, be careful, Archie. Well, they was talking about it on the Dinah Shore show. And I figured if Dinah could read it, it was okay for me to read it, because she ain't even been married lately.
Ma, I know all about this book. It's just trashy. It's full of all sorts of lies, and it gives you advice to do ridiculous, kinky things to make yourself more attractive to your husband. It's yucky.
But the woman that wrote it claims that yucky saved her marriage.
Ma, is something wrong between you and Daddy?
Hey, I'm afraid you're just gonna have to live with that noise of the float valve sucking wind up there. Because if I don't have the right tools, I can't fix nothing at all. So that's it. Dinner at 6, huh?
Where are you going, Archie?
I think I'll nip down to Kelsey's for a little aperitif on draft.
Ma, is there something wrong between you and Daddy?
Excuse me, Gloria. I better go look for them flyers.
No, Ma, wait a minute. Ma, the best thing for a person to do when they're having a problem is to talk it over with the person they're having the problem with. Can't you talk with Daddy?
Oh, I can't talk to your father about it. He won't listen. I can't do it.
You gotta listen to me. If you can't talk to him, who can?
Not me. I'm not having a sex problem with Archie. Ma's got to talk to him.
Isn't it always easier for two men to talk about these things?
Always. But one of the men cannot be Archie. I can't just go up to him and say, "Hi, Arch, I understand you and Ma are having problems in the sack."
Can't you be a little more delicate about these things?
I don't know what you want. I don't even know what the problem is.
Well, neither do I.
Look, Gloria, just because Ma is reading a book about sex doesn't mean they're having a problem.
Well, they will if she starts taking advice from that trashy book. It tells wives to greet their husbands at the door, wearing nothing but a garter belt and a dry martini.
Where is this book? There's your delicate. Look, I don't have time to discuss this, honey. I gotta take these books back to the library.
Michael, Daddy's at Kelsey's. It's right on your way.
I don't even know how to approach him about it. Gloria, look, you gotta understand, a male ego is a very fragile thing.
Yeah, but you've talked to him about this kind of stuff before. Don't you remember? Remember when you had your problem? And Daddy told you you were just stuck in neutral?
I remember.
Well, he helped you, didn't he?
What help? He told me to jog.
Come on, you can do it. Yes, you can. Please, for me.
Can't we just buy Archie a book? You know, Pat Boone's Twixt 12 and 20?
Excellent job. I'll be waiting for you with a martini.
Well, don't just stand there. You want to talk about something, sit down and talk about it. Don't be scared of nothing. Just spill it, whatever it is. What is it?
Well, it's kind of a personal problem.
Jeez. My generation never had these personal problems. Boy, how lucky we was. All we had was the Depression, Eleanor Roosevelt, and a bad team in Brooklyn.
Here's your beers, gents.
Thanks a lot.
All right, but what is it? What's the problem?
Yeah, what's your problem?
Do you mind?
No, go ahead. I hear all kinds of problems here.
It's about sex.
Terrific!
Get out of here.
Oh, excuse me.
Wait a minute. Before we start, is this something we could maybe fix with a little jogging?
Arch, it's a little bit more complicated than that.
With you, it's always sex. I don't know what it is. One year you're off, the next year you're on. You're either a monk or a mink.
You have such a sensitive way of putting things.
I always try to be sensitive about these here things. So come on, what party ain't working now?
I don't know how to begin.
You forgot that?
Arch, what should I do if I found out that Gloria bought a book called How to Be Your Husband's Mistress?
She bought that book?
Well, let's just say she did.
Well, I raised hell with her.
Why?
She could have checked it out for free at the library.
Arch, in this book, it tells how married couples should get the most out of loving each other, you know? Well, let's put it this way. You ever heard the expression, the earth moved?
Geez, I hear that expression all the time on television. I read it in the magazines. Let me tell you something. Maybe the earth moved 10 million years ago when the dinosaurs were jumping on each other. I'm not Not today. Although I will say, when you was living over at our house there, the earth was pretty solid, but I felt the upper floor moving it down.
Yeah. Arch, let's put it this way. How do people know when they're satisfied?
Oh, jeez. All right, I'll try to give you an answer, see. But I ain't gonna go into no details about the Geronimus zones and the floor play and all of that. Just ask yourself one simple question. See?
What's that?
Well, you say to yourself, am I satisfied with this here? If you feel yourself blushing, the answer's yes. If you feel like you want to throw up, the answer's no.
How do you usually feel?
I don't talk about that. I wouldn't even have told that naked in front of the army doctors.
Have you ever been able to talk about this with Ma?
No, you don't talk about a thing like this with your wife.
Why not?
Because, meathead, you talk about these things and you spoil all of, what do you call the mystiqueries of things.
Arch, if you can't talk about it with Ma, then how are you gonna ever know if things are good between you two?
What are you talking about your mother-in-law and me for? You're supposed to be talking about Glory and you, ain't we?
Well, yeah, but...
Well, come on, get to it. Come on, state your point. You're wasting my time. Get at it. Listen to this guy. He sounds like a seal with his throat cut. Come on, spit it out.
Well, lately there hasn't been much blushing going on in this family, and I don't mean me and Gloria. Figure it out. I'm so embarrassed.
Your pliers, they was right in your toolbox. Why don't you take your hat and coat off?
Because I am chilled, Edith.
Oh, you want me to put the heat up?
No, I don't want to be comfortable.
Is something the matter?
Was you doing any talking to the meathead about, you and me and you know what?
You know what?
Help me, Lord. Help me, Lord. Give me a word. Privacies. The privacies of the bedroom. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh. No, Archie, I would never talk to Mike about that. Gloria talk.
Oh, Gloria, now I understand the roundabouts of the whole thing. She was over here and had a little woman-to-woman talk with her daughter, yeah. Then she went home, she had a little woman-to-man talk with her husband. Then he trots down to Kelsey's and forces me into man-to-meathead conversation with him.
You're talking
about. But you never talked a woman-to-man thing with your husband, huh?
Oh, I would love to do that, Archie, but you never want to listen. Would you?
No. And I want to state here and now, for all time, that categorically, we're going to have no discussions between you and me, I will not let you talk ever about our sex life. What the hell is wrong with it?
Nothing, I think.
What do you mean you think? Ain't I always there, huh? When you're in the mood.
Yeah, Archie, and even when I ain't.
Even when you ain't, how lucky can you get?
I was always lucky about that.
Certainly you was always lucky about that.
Even before we was married.
Who'd you get lucky with before we was married?
No, Archie, I didn't mean that. I meant that before we was married, I had a long talk with my mother. See? And she said to me that there was one thing about marriage that I wasn't gonna like, but it was a wife's duty. And I thought she was talking about doing the laundry. Because that's the only part of marriage that wasn't no fun.
Is this gonna be long, Edith?
No. So when I got pregnant...
Not a nice word, not a nice word.
When I got in the family way with Glory...
Better, yeah.
My mother said to me, I see you doing your duty as a wife. And then I knew what she meant. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that I liked it.
But you should have told the old lady that. I mean, maybe she would have given me some kind of respect.
Oh, no, never. It would have broke her heart.
But why does this suddenly now, after all these, I mean, why does this suddenly come and blow on the windmills of your mind?
Remember when you had the date with that waitress?
Oh, that's it! You're throwing that up to me. Yes, you'll never let me off the hook for that for the rest of my life. It's going to go on and on and on and on and on and on.
I know nothing happened between you, but I thought I was gonna lose you, so I had to see you. So I went down to the coffee shop.
Went down to the coffee shop, Archie.
I didn't talk to her, Archie. I just looked at her. I had to see her to see what it was that attracted you to her, and I did.
Oh, Edith, you went down.
She was pretty and young. When I went home, I looked in the mirror and I seen wrinkles that I never seen before.
Wrinkles is doing all of this. Edith, let me tell you something. I seen wrinkles on that lady, but I don't see no wrinkles on you.
Oh, Archie, look closer.
Edith, give it here. And I'm looking as close as I can look without going cockeyed. And your face is as smooth as a baby's bust.
Archie, your eyes must be getting worse.
Well, all right. Hey, how do you know Mother Nature didn't plan it all out that way, you know? Like when people start getting older, they start getting wrinkledy, eh? Maybe their eyes are supposed to start getting more weaker. So they can't see a lot of things that don't make no difference anyway, and it all comes out even in the end. I ain't getting through. Put it this way, Edith. To these two eyes, weak as they may be, you are more beautiful than anybody I could think of.
Archie, do you think do you feel that you've been missing something? No, I mean, do I make you happy?
Do you make me happy? Edith, you make me happy in every way. When it comes to making a guy happy, you wrote the book.
The book?
Oh, geez, I'm glad you're laughing. I'm glad you're laughing. For a minute there, I thought you was going to start doing what you're doing now. Here it comes. Niagara Falls coming around the corner once again. Oh, don't cry no more.
Yo, listen. Listen to me right now. I want you to close your eyes for just a second, and I want you to imagine something with me. It is 1972. Richard Nixon is in the White House. The Vietnam War is still tearing this country apart. Watergate has not quite blown up yet, but it is coming. Black Americans are still fighting every single day for the civil rights that were supposedly won almost a decade earlier. The feminist movement is in full swing. The country is divided in ways that feel eerily familiar to anybody watching in our current era. And on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS television, the entire country, and I mean the entire country, more than 50 million people sit down in their living rooms, and they turn on their television sets, and they watch one episode of one sitcom that is going to be talked about at water coolers and kitchen tables and barber shops and bars and union halls and college dorms for the next 50 years. That episode, that one single half hour of television, is what we are talking about today. The episode where Archie Bunker gets trapped in his own basement during a blackout with a black man he has never met. And if you think that sounds like a small thing, if you think that sounds like a simple sitcom plot, if you think that sounds like just another episode of just another show, then, oh my friend, you are about to get an education. Because what Norman Lear and the entire writing staff of All in the Family pulled off in that basement in that one episode is one of the most stunning achievements in the entire history of American television. I am not exaggerating. I am not hyping this up for views. I am telling you the truth. This episode changed what a sitcom could do. This episode changed what comedy could say. This episode changed how America looked at itself. Okay, check this out. I want to set the table for you before we even get into the meat of this thing. The episode I am talking about is called Archie in the Lockup. Well, actually, there are a few episodes where Archie gets trapped in weird situations, because the writers absolutely loved putting him in bottle episodes where he was stuck in one location, because they knew that could carry anything. But the one we are focusing on today, the one that I think represents the most perfect crystallization of everything All in the Family was trying to do, is the one from Season 4 titled Archie in the Cellar, which aired on October 31st, 1973. Halloween night. And if that is not perfect scheduling by CBS, I do not know what is. Because this episode is about fear. This episode is about the horror of being forced to look at yourself. This episode is about what happens when a man who has spent his whole life hiding behind walls of prejudice suddenly has those walls torn down by circumstance. Now I know some of you are going to write in the comments that there are multiple episodes where Archie gets stuck with a black man in a confined space, and you are absolutely right. There is the famous episode with Sammy Davis Jr. There is the episode where Archie gets stuck in an elevator. There are episodes dealing with the family next door. And we are going to talk about all of them. We are going to talk about every single time Norman Lear put Archie Bunker in a room with somebody who scared him and forced him to confront that fear. Because that was the entire engine of this show. That was the machine that drove All in the Family for 9 seasons and 205 episodes. Put Archie in a situation where his prejudices run face first into reality and see what happens. And what happened was magic. What happened was revolution. What happened was the greatest sustained social experiment ever conducted on American prime-time television. Here is where it gets real, though. Here is what makes this particular episode so extraordinary. Because in Archie in the Cellar, we are not just watching Archie interact with a black man. We are watching Archie alone, literally alone, stuck in his own basement, trapped because the cellar door got jammed shut. Surrounded by bottles of vodka he was hiding from because he had bought them on the cheap from a guy who fell off the back of a truck, as Archie would say. And that is where this episode starts. An entire sitcom episode where the main character is completely by himself, talking to nobody, talking to a tape recorder, talking to God, talking to himself. Carrying an entire half-hour of television on his back without another human being to bounce off of. And let that sink in. Let that absolutely sink in. Because there is not another sitcom star in the history of American television who could have done what did in that cellar. I will die on that hill. I will fight anybody who disagrees with me. Not Jackie, not Ball, not anybody. Because what did was not just comedy. It was theater. It was Shakespeare. It was a man stripped bare in front of the entire nation and forced to confront his own mortality, his own loneliness, his own fear, and yes, his own prejudice. And then, my friends, just when you think this is going to be a one-man show, just when you have settled in to watch do his thing, the doorbell rings, or rather the basement door gets knocked on, because a black repairman has shown up at the house to fix something, and is not home. Mike and Gloria are not home. Nobody is home except Archie trapped in the cellar. And the repairman hears him yelling for help, and he comes down to try to get him out. And now suddenly, this one-man show becomes a two-man show. And this two-man show becomes one of the most important conversations about race ever broadcast on American network television. The repairman is played by Roscoe Lee, a classically trained actor. A man with a voice like dark velvet poured over gravel. A man who went to Lincoln University and college and who brought an almost Shakespearean gravitas to every role he ever played. And when Roscoe Lee walks into that basement and sees Archie Bunker and starts talking to him with perfect diction and enormous vocabulary and complete self-possession, the entire foundation of Archie's worldview starts to crack. Oh man, I am getting ahead of myself. I am getting so excited about this episode that I am jumping around like a kid on Christmas morning. Let me pull back. Let me give you the scope of what we are doing today. This is a deep dive video. This is me spending the next 2 hours and change breaking down for you every single aspect of not just this one episode, but the entire context in which this episode existed. Because you cannot understand Archie in the cellar without understanding All in the Family. And you cannot understand All in the Family without understanding Norman Lear. And you cannot understand Norman Lear without understanding the British show Till Death Us Do Part that he adapted. And you cannot understand any of it without understanding what America looked like and sounded like and felt like in 1971, when this show first premiered and blew the doors off of every sitcom that came before it. So here is what we are going to do. We are going to start at the beginning. We are going to talk about Johnny Spate and the BBC. We are going to talk about Norman Lear and the 2 rejected pilots he made for ABC. We are going to talk about CBS finally picking up the show and the disclaimer they ran before the first episode warning Americans that what they were about to see might shock them. Then we are going to dive deep into the cast. The liberal Irish Catholic actor who became the face of white working-class conservative prejudice in America. Gene, the Broadway veteran who turned Bunker into one of the most beloved characters in television history. Rob, the son of Carl, who was perfectly cast as the liberal son-in-law who drove Archie crazy. Sally, the young actress who held the entire family together as Gloria. And then we are going to work our way toward that basement, that cellar, that episode. And we are going to break it down line by line, scene by scene, moment by moment, because it deserves that kind of attention. It deserves that kind of care. It deserves that kind of respect. Here is my first hot take of this video, and I have a lot of them, so buckle up. Hot take number 1. Archie in the Cellar is a better episode of television than any episode of any so-called prestige drama that has aired in the last 25 years. I do not care if you love The Sopranos. I do not care if you love Breaking Bad. I do not care if you love Mad Men. None of those shows on their best day produced 24 minutes of television as dense, as meaningful, as funny, as devastating as Archie in the Cellar. Hot take number 2. Is the single greatest television actor of the 20th century, not one of the greatest. The greatest. Full stop. Period. End of sentence. And hot take number 3. If you have never seen All in the Family, and you are watching this video thinking this is just some old sitcom your grandparents liked, you are making the single biggest mistake a television fan can make. Because this show is not just old television. This show is American history. This show is the mirror that a nation held up to itself at the exact moment when that nation needed to look in the mirror more than it ever had before or since. So stick with me. Subscribe if you are not already subscribed. Grab something to drink because this is going to be a long one, and let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to England in the 1960s. Let's go back to the man who started it all. Because before there was Archie Bunker, there was a man named Alf Garnett. And before there was Norman Lear, there was Johnny Spate. And before there was CBS, there was the BBC. And that is where our story really begins. Part 2. All right, so let's rewind the tape. Let's go all the way back to 1965. The Beatles are on top of the world. The Vietnam War is escalating. Johnson is in the White House. And over in England on the BBC, a show premieres that is going to change the entire course of television comedy, not just in Britain, but around the world. The show is called Till Death Us Do Part. It was created by a man named Johnny Spate, who was one of the most interesting and controversial writers in the history of British television. Johnny Spate grew up in poverty in the East End of London. He was a genuine working-class kid who knew exactly what it sounded like when working-class white Englishmen sat around pubs and railed against immigrants, and complained about the state of the country, and blamed every problem on anyone who looked different from them. And Johnny Spate had the genius idea to put one of those men at the center of a television show. The character he created was named Alf Garnett, and Alf Garnett was a bigot. Alf Garnett was a loud mouth. Alf Garnett hated everybody who was not exactly like him. He was racist, he was sexist, he was classist, he was everything that respectable British television refused to acknowledge existed in the British population. And by putting this character on television and forcing British audiences to watch him every single week, Johnny Spate was doing something revolutionary. He was saying, here is what your uncle sounds like. Here is what your dad sounds like. Here is what the guy down the street at the pub sounds like. Stop pretending this person does not exist. Look at him. Listen to him. Laugh at him if you want. Recognize him. Because until you recognize him, you cannot do anything about him. Now here is where it gets real interesting. Because Till Death Us Do Part was a massive hit in Britain. Absolutely massive. It ran for 7 series from 1965 to 1975. And across the Atlantic Ocean in Hollywood, California, a man named Norman Lear was watching what was happening with that show, and he was paying very close attention. Norman Lear at this point was already a successful television and film writer. He had written for Martin and Lewis. He had written the screenplay for the movie Divorce American Style. He had done a whole lot of work in the industry. But Norman Lear was a man with something bigger inside of him. Norman Lear was a World War II veteran who had flown bombing missions over Europe. He was a Jewish American who had grown up during the Great Depression. He was a man who had lived through enormous historical moments and who had strong opinions about American society. And when he saw Till Death Us Do Part, he had what can only be described as a lightning bolt moment. He realized that he could take the basic concept of this British show and Americanize it. He realized that the Alf Garnett character was not just a British type. He was a universal type. Every country had its own version of Alf Garnett. And in America, that version would sound a little different, would talk about slightly different issues, would live in a slightly different world. But he would be recognizable to every American who had ever been to a family dinner where Uncle so-and-so started ranting about the good old days. So Norman Lear got to work, and this is where the origin story of All in the Family becomes one of the most fascinating stories in television history. Because Norman Lear did not just sit down and write an American version of Till Death Us Do Part and sell it to a network overnight. Oh no, nothing ever works that easily in Hollywood. Norman Lear had to fight for this show tooth and nail for years. He first developed the project under the title Justice for All. The main character was named Archie Justice, and in 1968 he produced a pilot episode for ABC. ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, the network that would eventually bring you happy days and all kinds of safe, family-friendly entertainment. ABC looked at this pilot about a loud-mouthed bigot arguing with his liberal son-in-law about race and politics, and ABC said, "No, thank you. No way, not happening. Too controversial, too risky, too everything." But Norman Lear did not give up. because Norman Lear is not the kind of man who gives up. He went back to the drawing board. He rewrote some of the material. He recast. And in 1969, he produced a second pilot for ABC, this time titled Those Were the Days. And again, ABC said no. 2 pilots, 2 rejections. Most television creators at this point would have given up. Most television creators would have moved on to safer projects. But Norman Lear believed in this show the way a religious person believes in God. He knew in his bones that this show needed to exist. He knew that American television was ready for something this honest, and this raw, and this real, even if the executives at ABC did not know it yet. So Norman Lear took the project to CBS. And at CBS, there was an executive named Robert Wood who had recently become the president of CBS Television. And Robert Wood was on a mission to modernize CBS. CBS at that time was known as the country broadcasting system because so many of its hit shows were rural comedies like The Beverly Hillbillies and Green Acres and Petticoat Junction. Robert Wood wanted to shake things up. He wanted to attract younger urban audiences. He wanted to take some risks. And when Norman Lear brought him this project about a bigoted dock worker in Queens arguing with his hippie son-in-law, Robert Wood said yes. He said, let's do it. He said, let's put this thing on the air. And in doing so, he made one of the greatest decisions in the history of American television. Now here is where it gets real. CBS was so nervous about the content of this show that when the first episode aired on January 12, 1971, they ran a disclaimer before the episode started. An actual on-screen warning telling viewers that the program they were about to see used humor to shine a light on our own weaknesses, prejudices, and concerns. CBS had extra operators standing by to handle the flood of complaint calls they expected to receive. They were genuinely afraid that this show might cause a national outrage. They were genuinely afraid that this show might get them boycotted or even pulled off the air entirely. That is how radical this show was. That is how far outside the norms of 1971 American television this show was. They literally had to warn the audience that what they were about to see was different from everything else on television. And you know what happened. The first episode aired, and the calls did come in, but not nearly as many as CBS had feared, and over the next few months something extraordinary happened. Words started to spread, people started talking, critics started writing, the audience started growing. By the second season, All in the Family was the #1 rated show in America. Think about that for a second. A show that network executives had rejected twice. A show that CBS itself had been terrified to put on the air. Became the #1 rated show in the entire country, and it stayed at #1 for 5 consecutive seasons, 5 years in a row, from 1971 to 1976. That had never happened before, and I know what you are going to say. What about I Love Lucy? What about? And yes, those shows had long runs at the top. But All in the Family held the #1 spot for 5 straight years in the ratings, which at the time, and even today, is an almost unheard of level of dominance. Now I want to talk about the cultural moment into which All in the Family was born. Because you cannot just look at this show in a vacuum. You have to understand what America was going through in 1971. The country was at war in Vietnam, and that war was increasingly unpopular. College campuses had been rocked by protests, including the Kent State shootings in 1970, where 4 students were killed by the National Guard. The civil rights movement had achieved enormous legislative victories in the 1960s, but the actual work of integrating American society was still very much in progress, and in many ways was generating enormous backlash. The feminist movement was in full swing, with the National Organization for Women pushing for the Equal Rights Amendment. The environmental movement was being born. The gay rights movement was just starting to emerge in the aftermath of the Stonewall riots in 1969. Everything was changing, everything was in motion, everything was contested. And what did American television look like during this period of enormous social upheaval? It looked like The Bunch. It looked like The Partridge Family. It looked like Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. It looked like shows where nobody ever seemed to notice that the country was tearing itself apart. It was escapism. It was fantasy. It was comfort food for a nation that was in actual crisis. And into that television landscape, Norman Lear dropped All in the Family like a grenade. And let me tell you, this is my hot take for this part. My hot take is that Robert Wood at CBS was a braver television executive than anybody we have at any network today. I mean, think about it. When was the last time a major American broadcast network put something on the air that they genuinely believed might cause a national scandal? When was the last time a network stood behind a creator who wanted to make something this raw and this confrontational? I will tell you when. It was never. Nothing has ever been as scary for a network to put on the air as All in the Family was for CBS in January of 1971. Nothing. And Robert Wood said yes anyway. And Norman Lear delivered on every single ounce of that promise. And here is another hot take. Till Death Us Do Part, the British original, is a great show. Genuinely. It is a landmark of British television, but All in the Family is better. There. I said it. Come fight me in the comments if you want. But the American version took what Johnny Spate had created and elevated it into something even more sophisticated, something even more emotionally complex, something even more universal. And the reason for that comes down to 2 people. Norman Lear, the producer and creator, and the actor. Because those 2 men together created something that transcended its source material and became one of the greatest pieces of popular art of the entire 20th century. And we are going to talk about exactly how they did that starting right now. Part 3. Okay, so now we are going to start to really get into the meat of this thing. We are going to start talking about the episode, Archie in the Cellar. But before we can really appreciate what happens in that basement, we need to understand who Archie Bunker was as a character by the time Season 4 rolled around. Because by October of 1973, when this episode aired, the American public had spent almost 3 years getting to know Archie Bunker. They had watched him every single week. They had heard his opinions on black people and Jewish people and Italian people and Polish people and hippies and women and gays, and every single category of human being that Archie did not approve of, which was most of them. They had listened to him mangle the English language with his famous malapropisms, calling his son-in-law a meathead, and calling his wife a dingbat, and telling people to stifle themselves. They had watched him lounge in his armchair in the living room of 704 Street, drinking a beer and complaining about everything under the sun. But they had also watched something else. They had watched a man who loved his wife in his own clumsy way. They had watched a man who loved his daughter and was terrified of losing her. They had watched a man who went to work every single day as a dock foreman and later as a cab driver to support his family. They had watched a man who sometimes showed flashes of kindness and decency that surprised everybody, including himself. Archie Bunker was not a monster, and that was the whole point. If Norman Lear had written Archie as a simple one-dimensional villain, the show would have died in its first season. Nobody wants to spend half an hour every week with a monster. What Norman Lear did was something much harder and much more important. They created a character who was wrong about almost everything, but who was also recognizably human, recognizably flawed, recognizably like somebody you knew, somebody you maybe even loved despite everything. And here is where it gets real. Here is the critical thing you have to understand. The reason Archie in the Cellar works the way it does is because by the time we get to season 4, we have spent so much time with Archie that we know him. We know his rhythms. We know his fears. We know what he does when he is cornered. We know what he does when he is scared. We know what he does when he is alone. And Norman Lear and the writing staff used all of that accumulated knowledge to set up this one episode in a way that would not have been possible in season 1 or season 2. This is an episode that absolutely requires the audience to have been along for the ride. This is an episode that builds on everything that came before it. And that is why I consider it one of the greatest bottle episodes in television history. Because a bottle episode is when you confine your characters to one location and just let the drama or the comedy unfold in that limited space. And the basement episode is the form of a bottle episode you can imagine. One man, one basement, one repairman who shows up halfway through, and a conversation about fear and race and mortality and God that ranks among the most important conversations ever had on American television. Let me set the scene for you. The episode opens on a Saturday. Archie is home alone in the house, is off at some kind of church or community event. Mike and Gloria are out too. Archie is feeling pretty good about himself because he has just scored a big deal on some cases of vodka. Cheap vodka. Vodka that probably came off the back of a truck, as the saying goes. And he is planning to take these cases of vodka down to the basement and hide them from, because would disapprove. Always disapproves of Archie's little schemes. So Archie is hauling this vodka down to the cellar. And in the process of going up and down the stairs, he loses his footing. He slips. He falls. He tries to grab onto something to stop himself, and in the process, he somehow manages to jam the cellar door shut from the inside. Now he is trapped in his own basement with his contraband vodka, alone. No way to call for help because the telephone is upstairs. And this is 1973, and cell phones are not even a science fiction dream yet. And this is where the episode becomes a tour force for, because for the first several minutes of the show, it is just Archie alone, talking to himself, trying to figure out what to do, yelling for help even though nobody is going to hear him, cursing, complaining, and finally sitting down and starting to drink the vodka because what else is he going to do? And the episode slowly transforms from a comedy about a man being stupid into something much deeper. Because as Archie starts to drink and as he starts to realize that he might genuinely be stuck in this basement for hours or even days or, God forbid, until he dies of thirst or starvation, he starts to get existential. He starts to think about his life. He starts to think about what he has done and what he has not done. He starts to think about God and plays every single one of these beats with absolute perfection. The drunken ramblings, the moments of genuine terror, the moments of self-pity, the moments of almost religious reflection. It is one of the greatest solo performances in the history of television comedy, and I do not think that is an exaggeration. There is a moment in the episode where Archie starts talking into his tape recorder, because he has brought a little tape recorder down to the basement with him for some reason, and he starts recording what he thinks might be his final message to his family, his last will and testament. And this is where really opens the character up and lets the audience see inside of him in a way that Archie would never allow in normal circumstances. Because Archie is a man who hides behind his bluster. Archie is a man who uses his loud opinions as a defense mechanism against feeling anything real. But alone in that basement drinking that cheap vodka thinking he might actually die, Archie starts to reveal his vulnerabilities. He talks about his love for even though he can never say it to her face. He talks about his fears about Mike and Gloria. He talks about his regrets. And it is heartbreaking. It is genuinely heartbreaking. And it is also funny. Because never stops being funny even when he is breaking your heart. That is the magic of what he did with this character. Now here is where my hot takes come in for this part. Hot take number 1. There has never been a bottle episode as effective as Archie in the Cellar. Not in any sitcom. Not in any drama, nothing. I do not care about the famous bottle episode of Breaking Bad. I do not care about the famous bottle episode of The X-Files. None of them hit the heights that Archie in the Cellar hit because none of them had carrying the weight of the entire episode on his back. Hot take number 2. The fact that this episode aired on Halloween night 1973 is not a coincidence, and it is not a joke. This is a horror story. This is an episode about a man being forced to confront the skeleton in his own closet, which happens to be his own fear of black people. And the horror is not supernatural. The horror is the horror of looking inside yourself and seeing something you do not want to see. Hot take number 3. Roscoe Lee deserved an Emmy nomination for his guest performance in this episode. And the fact that he did not get one is one of the great injustices of television awards history. Because here is what happens when the episode reaches its turning point. Archie has been in the basement for a while. He has been drinking. He has been getting increasingly desperate. And then there is a knock on the cellar door from outside. Someone has come to the house. Someone has heard him yelling. And that someone is a black repairman named Wilson, played by Roscoe Lee. And when Archie hears a black man's voice coming through the door, his first reaction is exactly what you would expect from Archie Bunker. Suspicion, fear, a reflexive racism. Archie does not want this black stranger in his house. Archie does not want this black stranger helping him. Archie would almost rather stay trapped in the basement than accept help from a black man. And that is the central tension of the entire episode. Is Archie's prejudice stronger than his desire to live? Is Archie's racism more important to him than his own survival? And let me tell you something. When Roscoe Lee's voice comes through that door, it is one of the great entrances in television history. because Roscoe Lee does not sound like what Archie expects a black man to sound like. Roscoe Lee has one of the most refined, most elegant, most educated voices you have ever heard in your life. The man was a Shakespearean actor. The man had a master's degree. The man could read the phone book and make it sound like poetry. And when he starts speaking to Archie through the door using words that Archie has probably never heard in his life, using a vocabulary that flies over Archie's head, using a level of intellectual sophistication that completely dismantles every single stereotype Archie has ever held about black people. You can almost see Archie's brain trying to process what is happening. You can almost see the gears grinding. And that right there, is the genius of All in the Family, because Norman Lear did not put an ordinary black man in that basement with Archie. Norman Lear did not cast somebody who would confirm any of Archie's stereotypes. Norman Lear cast Roscoe Lee. He cast a man whose mere presence and mere voice was an argument against every racist assumption Archie had ever made in his life. And then he put these two men in a basement together and he said to the audience, "Okay, watch. Watch what happens when a prejudice meets reality. Watch what happens when a man who has spent his whole life believing that black people are less than him is suddenly confronted with a black man who is quite obviously his intellectual superior in every conceivable way. Watch how Archie responds. Watch how Archie evolves or does not evolve over the course of a single 24-minute episode. That is the experiment. That is the art. That is the show. Part 4. All right, so let's keep building. Let's go deeper into this episode because we have only scratched the surface. We have set up the premise. Archie is trapped in the basement. He has been drinking. Roscoe Lee shows up as the repairman Wilson, and now the real meat of the episode begins. The conversation between these two men separated by a cellar door but connected by circumstance. And I want to really dig into the craft of what is happening in these scenes, because this is where you see the absolute mastery of television writing and performance. Here is what makes this episode so special from a craft perspective. The writers give us an Archie who is drunk, and a drunk Archie is a more honest Archie, because when Archie is sober, he is constantly performing. He is constantly putting on the show of Archie Bunker, the loud-mouthed bigot. He is constantly playing the role he has written for himself in his own mind. But when Archie is drunk, he starts to let the mask slip. He starts to say things he would never say sober. He starts to reveal things he would never reveal sober. And this is a very deliberate choice by the writers. Because if they had put sober Archie in that basement with Wilson, they would have gotten a conventional Archie Bunker episode. They would have gotten Archie shouting slurs and Wilson calmly correcting him and maybe a few laughs, but not much depth. But by getting Archie drunk, they open up a whole new dimension of this character that we have never seen before. They strip away his defenses. They strip away his bluster. They leave him emotionally naked in front of this stranger. And what emerges is not just a bigot, but a scared, lonely man who has been hiding inside a persona for his entire adult life. And Wilson, oh man, let me tell you about Wilson, because Wilson is not just a plot device. Wilson is a fully realized character in his own right. He is a working man. He is a family man. He has children. He has opinions. He has a whole life outside of this basement encounter. And one of the things the episode does so brilliantly is give Wilson agency and dignity at every single moment. He is not there to teach Archie a lesson. He is not there to be a magical black person who fixes Archie's racism. He is there because it is his job. He is there because someone is in trouble and he is trying to help. And as the episode progresses, we learn more and more about who he is as a human being. And Roscoe Lee plays every single moment of this character with absolute grace and dignity and humor and warmth. Here is a moment from the episode that I think captures everything about what this show was trying to do. At one point, Wilson asks Archie for some basic information so that he can try to help him get out of the basement. And Archie is being difficult. Archie is being suspicious. Archie is making little comments that are clearly racist even though he thinks he is being subtle. And Wilson just absorbs it. He just lets it wash over him. Because Wilson has spent his whole life dealing with men like Archie Bunker. Wilson knows exactly what is happening here. And instead of getting angry, instead of getting defensive, instead of walking away, Wilson just keeps trying to help. He keeps asking questions. He keeps trying to figure out how to get this drunk, racist white man out of his own basement. And in doing so, Wilson embodies a kind of patient dignity that is profoundly moving to watch. Now here is where it gets real interesting. Because at some point during the conversation, Wilson reveals something about himself that completely shifts the dynamic. Wilson is black. That is obvious from his voice. But Wilson is also educated. Wilson is also well-spoken. Wilson is also clearly a decent human being who is trying to help. And as the conversation goes on, Archie starts to let his guard down in ways he never would if he could actually see Wilson's face. Because remember, there is a door between them. They cannot see each other. They can only hear each other. And there is something about that arrangement that is almost confessional. It is almost like being in a confessional booth at a Catholic church. Archie cannot see his confessor. He can only hear a voice, and somehow that makes him more willing to talk, more willing to open up, more willing to say things he would never say face to face. Let me take a minute to talk about how brilliant this staging is, because this is a bottle episode within a bottle episode. The whole show takes place in the house, but then this particular episode takes place almost entirely in the basement. And then within the basement, there is a further division between Archie on one side of the door and Wilson on the other side of the door. So you have this physical barrier, this literal door. That is a metaphor for all the social barriers that have kept men like Archie and men like Wilson separated in American society for generations. And the episode is about what happens when that barrier is slowly broken down by conversation, by shared circumstance, by the simple human need to connect with another person when you are afraid and alone. And here is my hot take for this section. Hot take number 1. The cellar door in this episode is one of the great metaphors in television history. It is as powerful a piece of visual storytelling as anything Stanley ever did. It is as loaded with meaning as the green light at the end of Daisy's dock in The Great Gatsby. It is as rich as any image in any film. And it is in a 24-minute sitcom episode. Hot take number 2. The fact that this episode was written in 1973 and is still this relevant, this powerful, this uncomfortable to watch in 2026 tells you everything you need to know about how little progress we have actually made on the issues the show was trying to address. Hot take number 3. If this episode was submitted today as a pilot for a new sitcom, no network would pick it up. not a single one. Because it is too raw, too honest, too willing to let its main character be genuinely ugly in ways that modern television audiences are simply not willing to tolerate. And that is a tragedy. That is a damn tragedy. Now let's talk about what happens next in the episode. Because as Archie gets more drunk, and as the conversation with Wilson goes on, Archie starts to experience something that he has probably never experienced before in his adult life. He starts to experience actual, genuine human connection with a black person. Not the kind of performative interaction he has with the next door where he can hide behind jokes and casual hostility. Not the kind of surface-level interactions he has with Black at the loading dock, but actual deep emotional connection. Because in that basement alone and drunk and scared, Archie needs Wilson. Archie needs another human voice. Archie needs somebody on the other side of that door who is trying to help him. And for once in his life, Archie is forced to admit that his need for another human being is greater than his prejudice against that human being's race. And this is where the episode does something absolutely extraordinary, because the episode does not give us a simple redemption arc. The episode does not have Archie suddenly realize that racism is wrong and apologize for his whole life and become best friends with Wilson. That would be Hollywood. That would be fake. That would be exactly the kind of fake, phony liberal television that Norman Lear was trying to avoid. Instead, the episode gives us something much more realistic and much more powerful. It gives us a moment of connection between these two men that is fleeting and tentative and ambiguous. It gives us a glimpse of what could be, a glimpse of what might be possible. But it does not pretend that one conversation in one basement is going to change Archie Bunker overnight. Because that is not how human beings work. That is not how prejudice works. That is not how society works. I want to come back to something I mentioned earlier about performance, because I do not think people fully appreciate how difficult this episode was to shoot. Think about it. You are an actor. You have to carry an entire half hour of television on your back. Most of it is you alone on a set. No scene partner to bounce off of. No other actor giving you energy, just you. And a camera. And a studio audience of 300 people watching you. And you have to be funny. And you have to be sad. And you have to be drunk, but not too drunk. And you have to be vulnerable, but not sentimental. And you have to be recognizable as Archie Bunker, but also show sides of Archie Bunker that we have never seen before. That is one of the hardest acting assignments anybody has ever been given in the history of network television. And absolutely nailed it. He delivered a performance that should be studied in every acting class in every drama school in the world. Because what he did in that basement was not just good acting. It was great acting. It was transcendent acting. It was the kind of acting that justifies the entire medium. And let me say something about Rob and Sally and Jean, and what they contribute even in an episode where they barely appear. Because they do eventually come home. They do eventually discover that Archie is trapped in the basement. And when they do, the show explodes back into the ensemble dynamic that audiences loved. But the brilliance is that Norman Lear trusted his audience enough to hold back those beloved characters for most of the episode. He trusted us to sit with Archie alone. He trusted us to sit with Archie and Wilson. He trusted us to understand that sometimes the most important moments in a family sitcom happen when the family is not even present. And that kind of trust in the audience is so rare today. Modern television is terrified of letting scenes breathe. Modern television is terrified of silence. Modern television is terrified of letting one character carry the weight of an episode. Norman Lear was not afraid of any of that. And that is one of 1,000 reasons why his work remains superior to most of what gets made today. Part 5. Okay, let's go even deeper. Let's get into the heart of this thing, because I want to talk about the emotional center of this episode and the emotional center of this show. And to do that, I need to talk about something that might surprise some of you. I need to talk about love. Yes, love. Because underneath all the yelling and all the prejudice and all the malapropisms and all the controversy all in the family was fundamentally a show about love. It was a show about the complicated, painful, imperfect love that holds families together even when those families disagree about everything. And the cellar episode is one of the expressions of that theme in the entire run of the series. Because when Archie is down in that basement and he starts recording his final message to on the tape recorder, what comes out of his mouth is love. Clumsy love. Inarticulate love. Love that is filtered through layers of Archie Bunker gruffness and bluster, but love nonetheless. He talks about how is a good woman. He talks about how she deserves better than him. He talks about all the things he never said to her because he was too stubborn or too proud or too scared. And this is something the audience has sensed for years at this point. The audience has known since season 1 that underneath all of Archie's insults and all of his dismissive comments he genuinely adores, is his anchor, is his rock, is the only person in the world who sees him as a human being rather than as a set of political opinions. And when Archie thinks he might die in that basement, the first and only person on his mind is his wife. And here is where the marriage of Archie and becomes one of the great love stories in television history, because on the surface it looks like a terrible marriage. Archie is constantly insulting, calling her a dingbat, telling her to stifle herself, mocking her for being slow or simple or naive. And if you only watch a few episodes, you might think that is a victim of emotional abuse. You might think that Archie treats her like garbage, but if you watch the whole show, if you watch all 9 seasons, if you watch the totality of this relationship unfold over more than 200 episodes, you see something completely different. You see a marriage between 2 people who have been together for decades and who understand each other in ways that nobody else could possibly understand. You see putting up with Archie because she knows who he really is underneath the bluster. You see Archie needing in ways that he can never articulate. You see a love that is imperfect and flawed and sometimes ugly, but that is also real and deep and enduring. Gene's performance as is one of the great supporting performances in television history. And I actually do not love calling it a supporting performance because in many ways is the beating heart of the show. Archie might be the loudest voice in the room, but is the soul, is the one whose moral compass is reliable, is the one who sees people for who they are without the layers of prejudice that cloud Archie's vision, is the one who welcomes strangers into her home without suspicion, is the one who extends kindness to everyone. And the show repeatedly demonstrates that while Archie talks a big game about being smart and knowing how the world works, it is actually who has wisdom. Real wisdom. The kind of wisdom that comes from a fundamentally good heart and a capacity for empathy that Archie simply does not have. Now let me tell you about one of my favorite moments in the entire run of the show, and it is not from the basement episode, but it connects directly to what we are talking about. There is an episode where is dealing with menopause, and Archie is being Archie about it. He does not understand what is happening to her. He is impatient with her mood swings. He is insensitive in ways that only Archie can be insensitive. And at one point he yells at her to either start crying or stop crying, but to make up her mind. And the audience laughs, because it is a funny line. But underneath the laugh is this profound truth about how men of Archie's generation simply did not know how to deal with the realities of their wives' lives. They did not know how to listen. They did not know how to support. They did not know how to be present in ways that modern relationships demand. And the show does not let Archie off the hook for this. The show makes clear that his inability to be emotionally present for is a failing, a real failing, even while it also makes clear that his love for her is genuine. Let's bring it back to the basement, because what Archie does in that basement on that tape recorder is that he finally articulates things about his feelings for that he has never been able to say out loud to her. And this is the tragedy of Archie Bunker. This is what makes him such a profoundly sad character underneath all the comedy. Archie loves his wife more than anything in the world. But he is a man who was raised in a time and a place and a way that never taught him how to express love. He was raised to be tough. He was raised to be stoic. He was raised to believe that showing emotion was weakness, and so for his entire life he has been in love with a woman to whom he cannot say, "I love you." And it takes the threat of death in a basement for him to finally say the words. And even then he says them to a tape recorder rather than to herself. That is heartbreaking. That is absolutely heartbreaking. And it is also universally true for millions of men of Archie's generation, who lived their entire lives loving people they could never properly tell. Here is my hot take for this section. Hot take number 1. The marriage of Archie and Bunker is the most realistic portrayal of a long-term working-class American marriage in the entire history of television. Period. It captures the good and the bad, the love and the frustration, the intimacy and the distance, in ways that no other sitcom has ever matched. Hot take number 2. Jean was robbed every single year she did not win the Emmy. I mean, I know she won 3 times, but she should have won every year. She should have won 9 in a row. Because what she did with that character was magic and people took it for granted. Hot take number 3. The reason All in the Family hits so hard even today is because every single American watching it can recognize somebody in their family in these characters. Everybody has an Archie somewhere. Everybody has an somewhere. Everybody has a Mike and a Gloria somewhere. The show is a mirror, and that mirror never stops being accurate. Let me now talk about the moment in the cellar episode where everything crystallizes. Because there is a specific moment in this episode where Archie is talking to Wilson through the door and he asks Wilson a question. He asks Wilson about his life, about his family, about who he is. And Wilson answers honestly. And for a brief moment, there is a genuine exchange between these two men. A genuine moment of human connection across the barrier of race and class and background. And Archie lets his guard down just enough to actually listen, to actually hear another person. And in that moment, the audience sees the possibility of a different kind of Archie, an Archie who could listen, An Archie who could learn, an Archie who could grow. It is just a glimpse, just a flash. And then Archie retreats back behind his defenses, because real growth does not happen in 24 minutes. Real growth takes years or decades or lifetimes. But for that one flash of a moment, the episode shows us what could be possible if men like Archie were willing to actually hear men like Wilson. And that flash is enough. That flash is heartbreaking and hopeful at the same time. And this is what made All in the Family so different from everything else on television. It refused to give easy answers. It refused to wrap everything up in a neat bow. It refused to pretend that decades of prejudice could be undone by one heartwarming conversation. But it also refused to give up on the possibility of change. It held onto hope even while being brutally honest about how hard change actually is. And that balance between realism and hope is one of the hardest things to pull off in any kind of storytelling. Too much realism and you become cynical. Too much hope and you become saccharine. Norman Lear and his writers walked that tightrope every single week, and they did it for 9 years, and they never fell off. I want to talk for a minute about the concept of using comedy as a vehicle for social commentary, because this is something that All in the Family perfected, and that every show since then has been trying to imitate with varying degrees of success. The idea is that comedy is a Trojan horse. It is a way to sneak difficult ideas into people's living rooms without them realizing they are being challenged. Because when people are laughing, they are relaxed. When people are laughing, they are not defensive. When people are laughing, they are willing to consider things they would otherwise reject. And so by making you laugh at Archie, Norman Lear could also make you think about Archie. And by making you think about Archie, he could make you think about the things Archie believed, and why he believed them, and whether those beliefs were actually true. It was social commentary through comedy. It was political education through entertainment. And nobody had ever done it better than Norman Lear did it on All in the Family. And the basement episode is the expression of that technique, because there is comedy throughout the episode. There are big laughs. There are Archie's drunken ramblings. There are Wilson's gently sardonic responses. There are funny moments when the family comes home and has to figure out what is happening. But underneath all of that comedy, there is this profound conversation about race and prejudice and mortality and love. And the comedy does not undermine the seriousness. The seriousness does not kill the comedy. They work together. They enhance each other. They elevate each other. And the result is something that is simultaneously one of the funniest episodes and one of the most profound episodes in the entire run of the series. That is alchemy. That is magic. That is what Norman Lear could do that almost nobody else could. Part 6. Now we need to talk about something uncomfortable. We need to talk about the controversy. Because All in the Family was never a universally beloved show. It was a ratings juggernaut, but it was also a constant source of argument and criticism from the moment it first aired until its final episode and beyond. And understanding the controversy around this show is essential to understanding why it mattered so much, why it still matters so much. And why the basement episode in particular generated such intense discussion and debate when it aired. Let me lay out the main criticisms that the show faced during its run. On one side, you had critics who thought Norman Lear was being irresponsible by putting a character like Archie Bunker on prime-time network television every week. These critics argued that Archie was so funny and so sympathetic that a lot of viewers were not getting the joke. They argued that instead of making viewers think critically about prejudice, Archie was actually giving prejudiced viewers a hero. A figure to rally around. A guy they could point to and say, "See, look, he thinks what I think, and he is on television, so my beliefs must be okay." This was a very real criticism. There were actual studies done at the time showing that people who held racist views tended to watch All in the Family and identify with Archie rather than with Mike or Gloria. And this was deeply troubling to a lot of intellectuals and social critics. On the other side, you had critics who thought the show was too preachy, that Mike and Gloria were too smug, that the liberal characters were always right and the conservative characters were always wrong, and that this was a simplistic and condescending way to handle political disagreements. These critics argued that Norman Lear was essentially making propaganda for his own political views and using comedy as a shield to protect himself from accusations of bias. This was also a real criticism. And it came from the political right, who genuinely felt that Archie Bunker was being unfairly mocked, and that the show was sneering at working-class Americans who held traditional views. And then there was a third category of criticism that was perhaps the most interesting. This was the criticism that came from black viewers and black critics who watched the show and had complicated feelings about how black characters were being used. Some black critics appreciated that the show was willing to have these conversations at all. Some black critics appreciated that characters like George and were given dignity and complexity and their own voice. But other black critics felt that black characters were too often being used as tools to educate white audiences about prejudice, that black characters were being deployed as plot devices to teach Archie lessons, that the real interior lives of black families were being subordinated to the project of reforming bigoted white viewers. The basement episode with Roscoe Lay sits right in the middle of all of these debates, because you can watch that episode and read it completely differently depending on where you are coming from. If you are a black viewer, you might watch Wilson patiently dealing with this drunk, racist white man and think this is exactly the kind of emotional labor that black people have had to do in America for centuries. Why is this being presented as entertainment? Why are we supposed to be charmed by Archie's slow, partial, reluctant humanization when Wilson has been a fully realized human being the whole time? And that critique has validity. That critique needs to be taken seriously. Norman Lear was a white Jewish man making a show about a white Irish Catholic bigot for a mostly white audience. And even when he did great work with black characters and black actors, there were limits to what he could understand and portray from inside that perspective. But if you are a white viewer watching that episode, you might see something different. You might see a white character being forced to confront the contradictions in his own worldview. You might see a show that is telling white Americans directly you are the problem. Not them. Not those people, you, your uncle, your father, your neighbor, yourself maybe. And that is a radical thing for a prime-time network television show to be doing in 1973. That was genuinely radical. That is still radical today. Here is my hot take for this section, and buckle up because this one is going to ruffle some feathers. Hot take number 1. The people who criticized All in the Family for being too sympathetic to Archie were wrong. Flat out wrong. Because the whole point of art is that it makes you feel something. And if a show had made Archie into a cardboard villain who was simply evil and who everyone laughed at from a position of moral superiority, that show would have had exactly zero impact on anybody. Nobody would have watched. Nobody would have cared. It would have preached to a choir that did not need to hear the sermon. The fact that Archie was sympathetic, the fact that some viewers identified with him, that was not a bug. That was the feature. Because those were exactly the viewers who needed to be reached. And the only way to reach them was through a character they could recognize themselves in. Hot take number 2. The people who criticized the show for being too preachy were also wrong, because the show was not actually preachy. The show was far more balanced than its critics gave it credit for. Mike and Gloria were often wrong. They were often self-righteous. They were often naive. They were often exposed as being just as guilty of their own kinds of prejudice as Archie was of his. There are multiple episodes where Mike's smug gets punctured. There are multiple episodes where Gloria's political positions are revealed to be shallow or inconsistent. The show was not doing simple liberal propaganda. The show was engaging seriously with ideas from all sides. It was just doing it in a way that some conservative viewers found uncomfortable because they were not used to seeing their views challenged on television. Hot take number 3, and this one is going to be controversial. The critique from black viewers that the show used black characters as teaching tools for white audiences has a lot of merit, but it also misses something important. Because the show did not just give us Archie learning lessons from black characters. The show also gave us George, who was himself a complicated, flawed, prejudiced character in his own right. The show gave us a black character who was allowed to be wrong, who was allowed to be bitter, who was allowed to be funny and angry and human in ways that black characters on other shows at the time were not allowed to be. And that matters. That matters a lot. Because giving a black character the same complexity and contradictions as a white character is itself a political statement. And the show did that over and over again. Now let's talk about the censorship battles. Because Norman Lear fought CBS constantly over what could be shown and said on his program. The network censors, who were called standards and practices at the time, were in a constant state of anxiety about All in the Family. They would go through every script and try to cut things they thought were too risky, too controversial, too offensive. And Norman Lear would fight them on every single cut. Sometimes he won, sometimes he lost. But he never stopped fighting. And one of the reasons the show was as good as it was is because Norman Lear refused to compromise on the substance of what he was trying to do. There is a famous story about the standards and practices department trying to cut a scene where Archie and were sharing a bed. Apparently in 1971, the idea of showing a married couple in bed together was still considered on network television. Norman Lear thought this was ridiculous. These are married people, in their 60s. They should be allowed to share a bed on television. And he won that fight. And by winning it, he helped move American television a tiny step forward in its willingness to depict reality rather than a sanitized fantasy version of reality. There was another fight over the word period, not the punctuation mark, the word that refers to menstruation. There was an episode where the topic came up and the censors wanted it cut entirely. Norman Lear refused. He pointed out that half the population of the United States experiences periods and that pretending they do not exist is absurd. The word stayed in. This might seem like a small thing now, but in 1972 this was a big deal. This was breaking new ground for what could be discussed on network television. And there were fights over the language, the slurs, the epithets, the words that Archie used to refer to various minority groups. The censors were constantly trying to remove these words or soften them, and Norman Lear had to constantly make the case that without those words Archie would not be Archie, that the whole point was to show how Archie talked, that sanitizing his language would be dishonest, that you cannot critique prejudice by refusing to show what prejudice actually sounds like. And he won most of those fights, too, which is why All in the Family has language in it that would be unthinkable on network television today. Which brings us to the question that haunts every conversation about this show. Could this show be made today? And the answer to that question is more complicated than most people realize. And we are going to get into that later, much later. Because first we have to keep exploring what made the show great in its own time. Let me close out this section by talking about how the basement episode specifically navigated all of these controversy. Because the episode could have gone wrong in so many ways. It could have been too preachy. It could have been too sympathetic to Archie. It could have reduced Wilson to a plot device. It could have wrapped things up too neatly. But it did none of those things, because Norman Lear and the writers were artists, real artists. They knew how to calibrate every single beat. They knew how to give just enough sympathy to Archie without excusing him. They knew how to give Wilson full dignity and full humanity without turning him into a saint. They knew how to let the comedy breathe while also letting the serious themes land. And the result is an episode that somehow manages to please almost nobody who wants a simple political message, while also being one of the most politically powerful episodes of television ever made. That is an almost impossible achievement. And they pulled it off. Part 7. Okay, let's shift gears now and talk about relationships. Because All in the Family was fundamentally a show about a family. And to understand the Cellar episode in its full context, you have to understand the web of relationships that define this family. You have to understand Archie, and you have to understand Archie and Mike. You have to understand Archie and Gloria. You have to understand Mike and Gloria. You have to understand how all these people orbited each other in the little house at 704 Street. Because those relationships are what gave every episode its emotional grounding. Those relationships are what made the audience care about what happened in that basement. Those relationships are what made All in the Family a show that ran for 9 seasons instead of fizzling out after 2. Let's start with Archie, and we touched on this a little bit already, but I want to go deeper. Because the marriage of Archie and Bunker is one of the great character portraits in American popular culture, and the chemistry between and Jean was absolutely extraordinary. These two actors had a rapport that you simply cannot fake. You cannot manufacture it. You cannot create it with editing or with writing or with direction. It either exists between two performers or it does not. And it existed between them in spades. When Archie and were on screen together, you believed they had been married for 30 years. You believed they knew every single one of each other's tics and habits and moods. You believed they loved each other even when they could not stand each other. That level of authenticity is the rarest thing in television, and they had it. Watch the way would look at Jean in scenes where Archie is frustrated with. There is always this underlying tenderness. This look that says, even though I am mad at you right now, I would die for you. And Jean would return those looks with this soft, patient love that communicated volumes without a word of dialogue. That is acting, real acting. Acting that transcends the script and becomes something more than just words on a page. And when Archie in the basement records his drunken message on that tape recorder, we feel the full weight of their entire marriage behind every word he says. We feel 30 years of shared life, 30 years of raising a child together, 30 years of little fights and little reconciliations, 30 years of waking up next to the same person and going to sleep next to the same person. Norman Lear and his writers built that up over seasons and seasons of episodes. And they earned every ounce of emotional impact that the basement monologue delivers. Now let's talk about Archie and Mike. The relationship between a father-in-law and a son-in-law is one of the classic sources of comedy throughout the history of storytelling. From Shakespeare to sitcoms, this dynamic has always been ripe for humor. Because here you have two men who love the same woman from different angles. One as a daughter, one as a wife. And they are often completely different people with completely different worldviews thrown together because they both love her. And the Archie-Mike dynamic took this classic setup and supercharged it by making the two men representatives of the two sides of America's great political and cultural civil war. Archie was the old America, the working-class ethnic white America that had voted for Nixon and that believed in traditional values and that was suspicious of change. Mike was the new America, the college-educated America that had grown up during the civil rights movement and that was demanding change on every front. Putting these two men in the same house, at the same kitchen table, in the same living room, was a stroke of genius, because every argument they had was not just an argument between two fictional characters. It was an argument between two Americas. It was an argument that was happening in real kitchens and real living rooms across the country every single day. And hearing it dramatized on prime-time television gave Americans a way to process their own family conflicts through the safe distance of fiction. Rob was perfect casting for Mike, absolutely perfect, because Rob had the right combination of earnestness and intelligence and self-satisfaction to make Mike work. Mike had to be sympathetic, but he also had to be annoying. He had to be right about most of the issues, but he also had to be insufferable about being right. He had to be the voice of progressive values, but he also had to reveal the blind spots and hypocrisies of that worldview. Rob played all of these notes beautifully. And the banter between him and was some of the sharpest dialogue in television history. The way Archie would call Mike a meathead. The way Mike would roll his eyes at Archie's latest outrage. The way both men could reduce each other to absolute fury with a single well-placed word. It was like watching two heavyweight fighters trading blows week after week, and the audience ate it up. What makes this relationship work is that underneath all the fighting both men actually come to care about each other. There are episodes where Mike needs help and Archie provides it. There are episodes where Archie needs help and Mike provides it. There are moments of genuine affection that slip through the cracks of their constant argument. And by the time we get to the final seasons of the show, when Mike and Gloria are preparing to move away, you can see that both Archie and Mike are going to miss each other. They are going to miss the fighting. They are going to miss the banter. They are going to miss the tension. Because despite everything, they are family. And family is what the show was always about. Gloria, let's talk about Gloria, played by Sally, because Gloria was often the unsung hero of this ensemble. She was the character caught in the middle of every conflict. She loved her father, but she agreed with her husband. She wanted to honor the values she had been raised with, but she also wanted to embrace the new values of her generation. She was the embodiment of the transition that America itself was going through. Sally played Gloria with this wonderful combination of sweetness and steel. Gloria could be girlish and playful one moment, and then fierce and principled the next. She could be a daddy's girl running into Archie's arms, and then she could be a feminist standing up to Archie about his sexism. That range is hard to play. Sally played it brilliantly. And there is a sweetness to the Archie-Gloria relationship that is genuinely moving. Because in a show that is full of yelling and arguing and confrontation, the tenderness between Archie and his little girl comes through in these small moments that break your heart. Archie calls her his little girl. He is protective of her in ways that sometimes infantilize her, but that also reveal how much he loves her. When Gloria is sick, when Gloria is hurt, when Gloria is going through something hard. Archie puts aside his politics and his prejudices and becomes just a father. Just a dad who loves his daughter and cannot stand to see her suffer. Those moments remind us that underneath everything, Archie is a family man. Whatever his flaws and whatever his failures, Archie loves his family. And that love is the foundation on which the entire show is built. Here is my hot take for this section. Hot take number 1. The Archie-Gloria father-daughter relationship is one of the most underrated elements of the entire series. People focus on Archie and Archie and Mike, but the Archie-Gloria dynamic is where some of the sweetest, most vulnerable moments of the show happen. Hot take number 2. Sally does not get enough credit for what she contributed to this ensemble. She is often remembered as the least of the 4 main cast members, but that is absolutely wrong. She was a vital piece of the chemistry. Remove her and the whole thing falls apart. Hot take number 3. The relationship between Mike and Gloria is one of the best depictions of a young marriage in television history. You absolutely believe these 2 young people are genuinely in love. You absolutely believe they are building a life together. And you feel the stakes when their marriage goes through hard times in the later seasons. Now let's bring it back to the basement episode. Because one of the things that makes the cellar episode so powerful is that we do not see these relationships for most of the running time. Archie is alone. Then Archie is with a stranger. The family is absent. And that absence creates a yearning in the audience. We want to come home and find her husband. We want Gloria to come home and worry about her daddy. We want Mike to come home and make a sarcastic comment about how Archie got himself into this mess. And when the family finally does return to the house near the end of the episode, their reunion with Archie hits with enormous emotional impact precisely because we have been missing them for almost the entire show. Norman Lear understood this principle of absence making the heart grow fonder. He used it brilliantly. He what the audience wanted until the exact right moment. And then he delivered it with full force. And there is something else going on in the scene where the family comes home, because Archie has just had this experience with Wilson. He has just been through this alcohol-fueled crisis of conscience. He has just recorded what he thought might be his final words to his wife. And when the family finds him, there is this moment where he could choose to tell them what happened. He could choose to share the experience. He could choose to be vulnerable in front of them the way he was vulnerable in front of the tape recorder. But of course, Archie being Archie, he does not. He reverts immediately back into his standard persona. He makes jokes. He deflects. He covers up what just happened with layers of bluster and bravado, and this too is profoundly true to the character, because men like Archie do not change in 24 minutes. Men like Archie carry their revelations inside of them and bury them deep, and go back to being who they were. And that bittersweet realistic ending is one of the reasons this episode stays with you long after the credits roll. Part 8. All right, we have talked a lot about the emotional and thematic elements of this episode and this show. Now I want to talk about the craft. I want to talk about the actual nuts and bolts of how this kind of television gets made. Because one of the reasons All in the Family worked so well was that the people making it were absolute masters of their craft. The writers, the directors, the actors, the crew, the live audience. Everyone was operating at the peak of their abilities. And to understand why this show was so special, you need to understand what went into making it. Let's start with the writing. The writing on All in the Family was some of the most efficient, most sophisticated writing in television history. Every episode was 24 minutes. 24 minutes. That is all the writers had to set up a story and develop it and deliver a satisfying resolution, and do it with wall-to-wall laughs and genuine emotional moments and serious social commentary. That is an insanely short amount of time to do all of that. And yet week after week, year after year, the writers delivered. They did it through an incredibly disciplined approach to storytelling. They did it through economy of language. They did it through trusting the audience to pick up on subtext and implication without having to spell everything out. They did it through characters so clearly defined that you could understand an entire scene's dynamics just from who was in the room together. The head writers on All in the Family over the years included some of the most legendary names in television comedy writing. Norman Lear himself, of course, but also people like Michael and Bernie West, and Don, who would go on to create Three's Company. Ryan, and who was the head writer for Seed Caesar's Your Show of Shows, one of the foundational comedy writers of American television. These people came to All in the Family with decades of experience in the trenches of television comedy. And they brought all of that experience to bear on making every single episode as good as it could possibly be. You do not accidentally stumble into producing an episode like the Cellar episode. You get there through years and years of honing your craft, through hundreds of scripts that taught you what worked and what did not work, through collaboration with other writers who challenged and sharpened your ideas. It is a craft. It is an art, and All in the Family had the best practitioners in the business. Now let's talk about the live studio audience, because All in the Family was filmed in front of a live audience, and that decision fundamentally shaped the entire show. The live audience meant that the actors were essentially giving a theatrical performance every time they taped an episode. They could not do 100 takes of a scene. They had to get it right in front of an audience that was responding in real time. The laughs were real. The gasps were real. The emotional reactions were real. And you can feel that authenticity when you watch the show. Compare it to modern single-camera sitcoms where everything is filmed without an audience and where the comedy rhythms are completely different. Something is lost when you take the audience away. Something that All in the Family had in abundance. Because that immediate feedback loop between the performers and the audience created energy that you simply cannot manufacture. The live audience also forced a certain honesty onto the show. If a joke did not work, you knew immediately. You could not fake laughter the way modern shows use laugh tracks to pretend their jokes are funnier than they are. If the audience was quiet during a serious scene, that silence was real. If the audience gasped at something shocking, that gasp was real. And this real-time feedback kept the writing honest. It kept the performances honest. It kept the whole enterprise honest in a way that is genuinely rare in modern television. Norman Lear understood that there is an intimate connection between live theater and sitcom comedy. And he insisted on maintaining that connection even as other shows were moving toward more cinematic production styles. Let me tell you a story about the live audience that I think captures something important. When the Cellar episode was being taped, there was an incredible challenge for. He had to perform most of the episode alone on stage. The audience was there watching him, but he did not have a scene partner for most of the show. That is an incredibly difficult thing to do as a performer. Usually when you are doing a live show, you feed off your scene partner. You bounce off their energy. You adjust your timing based on theirs, but had to generate all of that energy himself. He had to keep the audience engaged for minute after minute with only his own performance. And by all accounts, he did it brilliantly. The audience was riveted. They laughed at all the comedic beats. They were silent during the dramatic moments. They gasped at the emotional revelations. And their responses are part of what you hear when you watch the episode today. That shared experience between performer and audience is baked right into the finished product. That is why the show feels so alive. That is why even 50 years later, these episodes have an immediacy that most modern television cannot match. Now I want to talk about Norman Lear's directorial vision. Because while Norman Lear was primarily the producer and the creator, he also had enormous influence over how the show was directed. The direction of All in the Family was deceptively simple. The camera work was not flashy. The editing was not showy. The sets were limited to the bunker house and a few other locations. There was no reason for any particular scene to look visually extraordinary. And yet the show was directed with tremendous sophistication. The blocking was always perfect. You always knew exactly where each character was in relation to the others. You always had a clear sense of the geography of the house. The transitions between comedic moments and dramatic moments were handled with precise timing. Nothing was flashy, but everything was right. That is the hardest kind of direction to pull off. Because when direction is flashy, you notice it. But when direction is invisible, and yet everything works, you do not even realize what skill is behind it. Here is my hot take for this section. Hot take number 1. Modern sitcoms have suffered enormously from moving away from the live audience format. The single-camera sitcom can do certain things that the live audience format cannot, but it has lost something fundamental in the exchange. It has lost the theatrical energy. It has lost the honest feedback loop between performers and audience. It has lost the feeling of being part of a shared event. And we should bring that format back in a big way. Hot take number 2. The writing staff of All in the Family collectively represents one of the greatest gatherings of sitcom writing talent in the history of the medium. Show me another writing staff that put out more classic episodes. Show me another writing staff that tackled more difficult subject matter with more success. You cannot. They were the best. Full stop. Hot take number 3. The willingness of the cast to put themselves in front of a live audience every week and perform this material without a net is one of the most underrated acts of courage in the history of acting. These were not easy performances to give. They were vulnerable. They were emotionally demanding. They were socially risky. And the actors showed up week after week and delivered. That is heroism. Acting heroism. Let me say a little more about how comedy was used to deliver social commentary, because this is really the heart of what Norman Lear accomplished. He understood something that many creators do not understand. He understood that comedy gives you permission. Comedy gives you permission to say things you could not say in drama. Comedy gives you permission to explore ideas that would seem too heavy in a serious show. Comedy gives you permission to put your audience in uncomfortable positions because the laughter becomes a relief valve that prevents the discomfort from becoming unbearable. This is why All in the Family could address racism and sexism and homophobia and every other difficult topic in American life, because the comedy gave the show permission to go there. The laughs made the medicine go down. But here is the trick. The trick is that the comedy has to be genuinely funny. You cannot just slap jokes onto serious material and call it a comedy with a message. The jokes have to be organic. The jokes have to come from character. The jokes have to arise naturally from the situations. And the writers of All in the Family were absolute masters at this. Every single joke came from somewhere real. Archie's malapropisms came from his working-class background and his lack of formal education. Slowness came from her trusting, naive nature. Mike's pomposity came from his graduate student pretensions. Gloria's exasperation came from being caught between generations. Every character had their own specific source of humor that was rooted in who they were as a person. And that is why the comedy never felt cheap. That is why the comedy never undermined the seriousness of the themes. Because the comedy was always pulling in the same direction as the drama. They were working together. They were not fighting each other. And the dramatic episodes. Let me tell you about the dramatic episodes, because All in the Family did not just do comedy. It also did some of the most powerful dramatic television ever made. The Sassault episode, the breast cancer episode, the death of episode on the later show Archie Bunker's Place, the Christmas Draft Dodger episode. These were episodes that had the audience in tears. Episodes that addressed trauma and loss and grief with a seriousness that most drama series could not match. And they worked because the show had spent so much time making you love these characters that when something terrible happened to them, it hit you like a truck. You cared because you knew them. You grieved because you loved them. And that combination of comedy and drama, that willingness to go deep into the hard stuff, that is what separated All in the Family from every other sitcom of its era and from most sitcoms that have come since. It was not afraid to hurt you. It was not afraid to challenge you. It was not afraid to make you sit with something difficult. And that fearlessness is the ultimate mark of great art. Part 9. Now let's pull back the curtain and talk about what was actually happening behind the scenes. Because the production history of All in the Family is one of the most fascinating business stories in television history. And you cannot fully appreciate what got on the air without understanding what was happening off the air. The battles, the decisions, the close calls, the moments when the whole enterprise almost fell apart, all of it is worth knowing. Let's go back to Norman Lear's relationship with CBS. Because while Robert Wood took the initial leap of faith to put the show on the air, the network was constantly nervous about what Norman Lear was doing. And Norman Lear was constantly pushing back against that nervousness. This was not a friendly, collaborative relationship most of the time. This was a pitched battle. Norman Lear would submit scripts. The network would object to content. Norman Lear would fight for the content. Sometimes he would win, and sometimes he would lose. And every single episode was a negotiation. Every single line of dialogue was potentially a... That level of conflict between a creator and a network is exhausting. It is draining. It is the kind of thing that burns people out. And the fact that Norman Lear kept doing it week after week, year after year, is a testament to his extraordinary commitment to the work. One of the key things that Norman Lear insisted on from the very beginning was creative control. He had learned from bitter experience in earlier projects that if you gave a network too much input, they would water down your work until it was unrecognizable. So when he negotiated his deal with CBS for All in the Family, he fought for and got a level of creative control that was unusual for a producer at that time. This did not mean he could do absolutely anything he wanted. But it meant that his vision for the show was preserved more than it would have been under a different arrangement. And that creative control is what allowed the show to become what it became. Without it, All in the Family would have been a very different show. A much safer show. A much less important show. Let's talk about the casting process. Because the casting of the 4 main roles was one of the great feats of casting in television history. And it did not happen overnight. There were auditions. There were early choices that did not work out. There were adjustments that had to be made between the rejected pilots and the final version that CBS picked up. In the earliest pilot, Mickey was actually offered the role of Archie, and he turned it down, saying that America was not ready for this kind of character. Mickey, of all people, imagine if he had taken the part. Imagine All in the Family with Mickey instead of. It would have been a completely different show. And probably not a very good one. Because no matter how talented Mickey was, he was not right for this particular character. Was right. And when Norman Lear found him, the whole project finally had its anchor. This path to All in the Family is worth telling because it is such a classic Hollywood story. He was a character actor who had been kicking around the industry for years. He had done theater. He had done films. He had done television guest spots. He was a solid working actor, but he was not a star. He was in his mid-40s when he got the part of Archie Bunker, an age when a lot of actors would be wondering if their big break was ever going to come. And when Norman Lear saw him in a screen test for the role, something clicked. Something told Norman Lear that this Irish Catholic actor from New York, who was actually quite liberal in his real-life politics, could somehow embody this working-class bigot in a way that would make audiences both laugh at him and love him. That casting decision is one of the most brilliant decisions ever made in the history of American television. Because became Archie Bunker so completely that it is almost impossible to imagine him as any other character. That kind of transformation happens rarely in acting, and when it happens, it produces legends. Jean had a slightly different path. She was a Broadway actress. She had done musicals. She had done dramatic work. She was a craftsperson of the first order. When she auditioned for Bunker, she brought a specific idea of who this woman was. A sweet, simple, patient woman who loved her husband and who embodied a kind of decency that was almost spiritual in its intensity. Jean understood that was not stupid, was naive. There is a difference. Stupid people miss things because they cannot understand. Naive people miss things because they choose to see the best in others. Jean built an entire character around that insight, and she made Bunker into one of the most beloved television characters of all time. Rob came to the role of Mike with an interesting pedigree. He was the son of Carl, the legendary comedian and writer who had created the Dick Van Dyke Show and who was himself one of the great figures of 20th century American comedy. Rob had grown up in the comedy world. He knew how sitcoms worked. He knew how to time a joke, and he brought all of that background to the role of Mike. The fact that he was the liberal son-in-law and that his own father was a Jewish Hollywood liberal gave him a personal connection to the material. He understood Mike in his bones, and his performance reflects that understanding. Sally was the newcomer to the group. She was younger and less experienced than the other three leads, but she brought a fresh energy and a genuine sweetness to the role of Gloria that immediately clicked with audiences. She had to work hard to hold her own with three more experienced actors, but she more than succeeded. And she created a character who was beloved by millions and who became an important part of the ensemble chemistry that made the show work. Now here is something I want to emphasize. The chemistry among these four actors was not accidental. It was something that grew over time as they worked together. In the early episodes, you can see the actors still finding each other, still figuring out how their characters fit together, still establishing the rhythms that would eventually become second nature. But by season 2 or 3, the chemistry is fully developed. They move as a unit. They support each other. They know when to give and when to take in a scene. That ensemble work is the foundation of the show, and you cannot manufacture it. You can only earn it through hard work and shared experience. Here is my hot take for this section. Hot take number 1. Norman Lear's battle with CBS over creative control on All in the Family should be studied by every aspiring television producer, because he showed that it is possible to make uncompromising art within the commercial constraints of network television. You do not have to sell out. You do not have to water things down. You can fight for your vision and win, but you have to be willing to fight every single day. Hot take number 2. The casting of as Archie Bunker is one of the 3 greatest casting decisions in television history. The other 2 are Ball as Lucy Ricardo and James as Tony Soprano. And I would argue's achievement was even greater than those two because he had to embody a character whose views most of the audience would find objectionable and still make him sympathetic and human. That is an almost impossible acting challenge. He nailed it. Hot take number 3. The cast of All in the Family had more genuine chemistry than any other sitcom cast in history. Yes, I am including and Friends and Cheers in that comparison. Because those shows had great chemistry too, but none of them had to bear the emotional weight that All in the Family had to bear. None of them had to sell the kind of material that All in the Family sold every single week. And the fact that the All in the Family cast could make that material land consistently for 9 seasons is a testament to their unique chemistry together. Let me tell you about the business side of the show, because All in the Family was a massive financial success. It was making CBS enormous amounts of money. Advertisers wanted to be associated with it. Other networks were trying to figure out how to replicate its success. It transformed the entire economics of the sitcom genre, and it made Norman Lear into one of the most powerful producers in Hollywood. He used that power to create an entire empire of socially conscious sitcoms. The Good Times, One Day at a Time, Mary Mary, all of these shows came out of the success of All in the Family. And all of them in their different ways carried forward the mission of using comedy to explore difficult social issues. No one creator in television history had more sustained commercial and artistic success in such a concentrated period of time as Norman Lear did in the 1970s. He was literally producing multiple top 10 shows simultaneously. His production company, Tandem Productions, and later Embassy Communications, was one of the most successful independent television production companies of all time. And all of it started with that one crazy idea to adapt a British sitcom about a working-class bigot for American audiences. All of it started with 2 rejected pilots and years of rejection. All of it started with the faith of one network executive, Robert Wood, at CBS, and the stubborn refusal of Norman Lear to give up on his vision. That is the story of how great television gets made, not through marketing studies or network notes or audience testing. Through the vision of a single creator who refuses to compromise. That is the lesson. That is the real behind-the-scenes story. That is what we should be teaching in film schools and television production programs. Because that is the only way that art actually happens in this medium. Through the passion and persistence of people who believe in what they are making more than they believe in the system that is trying to stop them from making it.